Conference championship has been captured by the Indiana Pacers.
Felix Rosenquist, he wins the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Well, the band is back together, indeed. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, Mark Dykton on the ones and twos. Hope everybody had a happy and a safe 4th of July. I know it was a little R&R, a little accepting of the award. James Boyd, a congratulations once more on the Indiana Sports Writer of the Year. And welcome back from your trip to the Carolinas.
Thank you, sir. It's glad to be back. It was weird not having a job for what felt like forever, but good to spend time with my mom and the rest of the crew. And yes, the Carolinas treated me well. Where my aunt lives, she lives in Summerville, South Carolina. And everyone, you would love this, Kevin. Everyone there drives around on golf carts.
Oh, wow.
It's a retired community that she stays in.
Yeah.
And yeah, everyone's just vibing out. They play a lot of golf. They do a lot of nothing other than that, parties and things like that around the neighborhood. But yeah, it's just weird. I feel like I was living in like Mayberry or something for a couple of days because everyone just drives by on the golf cart waving, got speakers on the golf cart, obviously a couple drinks. It was nice.
Look at that, yeah. Maybe an occasional blue pill, Mark, when you knock on the door.
I don't know about that, Mark.
I was going to say, all the things that James was just saying, your desk might have moved a few inches up after all that. Golf carts and golf all the time.
A minute into us three being back, I think it's all pretty fitting. We congratulate James on the award. Mark, we congratulate you on reactivating our show Twitter account.
We're back, baby.
Somehow, some way, a miracle on that end. And I congratulate myself. I think over the last week I had enough domestic beers to satisfy Joey Chestnut's hot dog run there over the weekend. So I feel very fitting how all three of us maybe spent the past week here. But
and we
good
all
to see
have
all your faces.
30 fingers and 30 toes between us, right?
Yes. We do. Yes, 30
Yes,
fingers,
that is the
30
main
toes.
thing.
Yeah. Honestly, last night when I heard a few more pop off as I was sitting there in bed, I thought to myself, what the hell are these people doing? We should be done with fireworks.
I'm always wondering, how did you have so much left over? I'm always like, didn't you use that the night before? How's there so much left over? Did you overspend? Or you were reckless in your usage of the fireworks?
Yeah, the dad in me was coming out. I was bitching and moaning in bed last night. Tonight, though, at that hour, I will not be. I say this in all seriousness, gentlemen. I don't know the last time I have cared about a July sporting event than I will care more about tonight, the United States taking on Belgium at 8 o'clock. And I remember saying to you guys before the start of the World Cup, I find the United States men's soccer team fascinating. I mean, we seemingly dominate and or are good at pretty much every single team sport that matters on an Olympic stage. Obviously, our women's World Cup team, very good. Even when you talk about hockey, it really just comes down to, us in Canada for the most part, present day, obviously. But, here is the men's national team. I don't know if Cinderella is probably not the right term, but, they're just kind of another team on the global stage. And now here they are with an opportunity tonight to get to the final 8. And yesterday, we see the announcement that, don't ask me process. I have no idea how the process worked. Process, I don't know. James, all I know is the result is right. Flo Balogun, it should not have been a red card whatsoever. My amateur soccer opinion says that. Far more knowledgeable soccer people say it should not have been a red card. So the decision is right. American, Belgian, I don't care who you are. But oh boy, the process does sound a little bit shady, which feels very fitting for old FIFA.
Look, it sounds like President Trump called in a favor. They say that had nothing to do with it, but I'd imagine when he gets on the phone, that might move the needle a little bit in your favor. Now, I'm not complaining. I'm an American. I'll take it. So we'll see if it pays off tonight in a huge, huge match.
So again, 8 o'clock tonight, the U.S. a slight favorite over Belgium. I'm watching the highlights in here of Mexico, England on the TV. This game last night was absolutely epic. For those that don't follow the global stage, Mexico in this stadium, Estadio Azteca, is like one of the crazier environments you'll see. SEC on steroids. I felt nervous, honestly, that the crowd is going to storm the field no matter who scored, Mexico or England. England survives 3-2, I would say literally and figuratively. That included a red card in the second half. They were defending 10-man down. Mark, there's nothing like a team with 10 men. I mean, the U.S. obviously had that the other night, and I get the Bosnia maybe didn't pepper the goal as much as they should have. But when you're with the lead and you're a man down, oh my gosh. I'm just picturing the gif of the kid at the kitchen table doing the sign of the cross, praying to defend about 1 million crosses you have, literally and figuratively for that one too.
Yeah, they're just
trying
like,
to survive.
get back on defense. We're not even going to try to score at this point. Let's just stop every attempt that they have.
It's like one boot as far down the field as you can go, and then 4 seconds later, the ball's right back in your box.
They told the goalie, kick it as far as you can, and we'll handle it from here. But yeah, that was intense from beginning. 2 penalty kicks in that game, so just a wild string of events in that game last night.
Yeah, absolutely epic with that one. The World Cup has been tremendous. We got some Pacers talk to get to. It's our first time chatting since the Kelly Oubre move. The Pacers will be off to Summer League here coming up later this week. The Fever did get a win last night without Caitlin Clark. No Asia Wilson for the Aces. The Fever get things done as they start a week out west. What did you think of the Kelly Oubre acquisition? I believe can become official at noon today.
My quick thoughts are he does add legitimate size on the wing. He's 6'8", so that should help you defend other wings when it comes to your matchups, particularly when it comes to the playoffs. And then offensively, he's a pretty good scorer throughout his career, and he's an excellent cutter, Kevin. So being paired with Tyrese Halliburton, a healthy Tyrese Halliburton, by the way, I did hear from him at his kids' camp. Shout out to Dustin DePirac for putting out some of that audio. So slasher, great point guard, easy buckets. I like the pickup. And it's not that expensive. Now, they are a little bit over the tax currently, technically. So we'll see what they do to maneuver to get under it, because I can't imagine that of all the years to pay the tax, you're going to go over it for Kelly Oubre.
Yeah, I'm curious Tony Eustace's thoughts on that when he joins us a little bit later in the show. You know, as far as Oubre and the fit, I think in a way you could almost label him kind of a taller Benedict Mathurin. I don't think they're the exact same player, to be clear, but I think their role with this team, you know, kind of score off the bench mainly, is similar. You know, Oubre, like you said, James, he's got some size. Obviously, he's older than Mathurin. I'd say both of them probably fall into the category of a little bit of streaky three-point shooters, capable, but, you know, a hair streaky. And when they're driving, they're going to drive to score. They're not necessarily driving to, you know, set up others with that. But, you know, you would think with his size, again, the capable defender, you would hope, with the wings still very heavy in the Eastern Conference. And we saw, obviously, the big blockbuster trade with the Celtics and the Sixers we can get to as well. That keeps, you know, a guy like Jaylen Brown still in the Eastern Conference, and it probably pushes a team like Philadelphia up a little bit on the rung. I would assume this is it for the Pacers. I mean, like you said, they're over on the tax. I guess they could make a little bit more room by trading away a Jarris Walker or a Ben Shepherd. But if you are trying to keep your core, top 7 plus Oubre, I guess, and Oubre obviously would be in that now, but I'm including TJ McConnell and Obi Toppin in that. This is probably it, right? Maybe a center? I don't know, like a vet minimum center?
Yeah, that was the other position that Chad Buchanan, the Pacers GM, mentioned in his post-draft news conference about 10, 11 days ago at this point. So 2 positions to address, wing and center. You address the wing. Can you also address center? I will say, and I get it's just international play, but Zubac looked pretty good in the FIBA World Cup. So he looked like he was
not the soccer
healthy.
version.
No. To be clear,
Yeah.
he was on the hardwood, not the pitch. So at least he's fully healthy from the cracked rib that he suffered at the end of the season.
Guys, I'm not going to lie. I was feeling some butterflies during that Bosnia game that I didn't know existed in my body for soccer. It was a little Notre Dame-ish, if I dare say.
That's high praise from you.
I know.
That's high praise.
And I woke up today kind of jacked up, ready to go. Let's go.
I will say, I think the red card made me lock in even more during that game because I was like, oh boy.
So pissed.
Like, yes, I was mad, but also I got a little panicky. Like, this could be really, really bad. Not just for today, but for the next match. And so, from everything that I've read, and we'll get more into it throughout the show, this is unprecedented, what has happened for Flo Balogun. And to have
You're saying taking away the 1-game suspension is what you're
exactly,
saying. Yeah.
Because I've read a bunch of stuff, and apparently the last person to have a red card rescinded, which isn't the case technically with Balogun. His is just suspended, which is weird. Like, you suspended a suspension. Okay, we'll take it. But more or less, this is the first time this has happened in like 50 years.
Yeah, I thought we were going to need the the Lubbock County judge to step in here, to try and get this thing taken away. I don't know. Maybe President
This
Trump
does have an SEC feel to it.
was that.
Or Big 12, I should say.
I was nervous there for a second. But, I mean, again, if you splice together, hell, watch the red card from last night for England. If you splice together all these red cards that we've seen in the World Cup and you're like, hey, yeah, do you feel like any of those don't fit? I mean, to me, the Balogun one would seem rather obvious. I'm trying not to just wear my United States soccer shirt that I'm rocking today and, trying to be a little bit more objective on it. But, yeah, just wild news and the timing of it all. Like, didn't we play Bosnia, what was that? That was last Wednesday?
Yeah.
And then 36 hours before the match, they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, Balogun's good to go. And the U.S. team, of course, is shocked, based off all their comments yesterday. So that is 8 o'clock tonight. Spain, Portugal. Those are neighbors there. 3 o'clock coming up today. Winners will face off. So Spain, Portugal winner. Belgium, United States winner facing off. Mark, I can't say I've checked the World Cup draft standings too closely, but I might have scanned it. And, oh, boy, I can see why you were so adamant about the championship should get more points.
I know. I think I'm down to maybe one or two teams. I think my teams have gotten knocked out quite a bit, so it might be a little more wide open.
Brazil met Mr. Holland, correct? Not the country, but the Greek god, I should say the Norwegian god that is Holland. That man is unbelievable.
It's like it's almost like his forehead has magnets to the ball in it, because the ball just goes in the air and just finds his head and he just throws it in the net.
And the ball just pops off this is going to sound so stupid. It just pops off his body with more velocity than I feel like anybody else.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's a fair assessment. I mean, the dude is special.
The second goal, I was just like, that was just a rocket from him yesterday as Brazil comes up short yet once again. So we got a million things to get to here on this Monday morning, a little bit overcast in the Indy area. Your buddy from Columbus, James, or Bearhalter? No, I'm thinking of the old United States coach.
Fine. Ori Benatar.
Ori Benatar, not Pat Benatar?
Not Pat Benatar. Ori Benatar.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe we can get a little Pat Benatar at some point today,
Sure.
Mark?
Maybe that'll be his intro music.
JMV takeover version.
Do a
there.
23andMe while he's on the air, too.
For that. Shout out to Pato Award yesterday over at Mid-Ohio. It has certainly been a newsy week or so in the IndyCar paddock. Pato Award finally gets into victory lane here with that W. Good Monday morning to you. I'm Kevin Bowen. James Boyd is back. Award not in tow. Did you get an actual award? Is it sitting in the apartment, man cave? Did we leave it
It's
with
at my
Mom?
parents' house. My mom told me that she had to keep that one because I was the first one she got to travel with me to accept. So
Now, will she prominently display it?
I assume so. I never really ask any questions. I just let her do her thing. So when I go back home, it might be up on the wall somewhere.
You better make sure on the holidays it's fully displayed. Be on the mantle. The first thing you see when you walk in the house.
The centerpiece on Thanksgiving.
It was cool, though, to see Chris Denary there as well as Rob Blackman and get our trio photo together afterwards as awards winners. So shout out to the other guys on the sportscasting side from Indiana.
3 pros, 3 very deserving there. So congrats again. And we welcome certainly James back. It'll be us 3 here. Coming up today, we'll have a special guest joining us in studio coming up on Wednesday. We'll share that with you. We'll get back to our What If series tomorrow. But today, there's plenty to get to. Again, Fan Morning Show right here on a Monday, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Tonight at 8 o'clock, the United States will try to punch their ticket to the quarterfinals. It will be Belgium, a team that did beat them with a big second half back before the start of the World Cup in a friendly. But Flo Balogun will be playing in tonight's match. So for those that recall, this story occurred last Wednesday against Bosnia. I would say a very, very, very sketchy red card was thrown his way that not only knocked him out of the final 30 minutes against Bosnia, it also suspended him for the next match. So James Ward were a little vague on details, potentially President Trump making a call or two, but nonetheless, the result is this. The United States will have their best player back, their striker, tonight at 8 o'clock.
I'm excited for it. It definitely helps the United States. The rest of the world is probably a little bit jealous or upset because this is unprecedented for what we're seeing as far as a red card being suspended, but it's not like we're going to apologize for it. I'm American. Let's go for it.
No. Yeah. Corruption's corruption unless it benefits you, and then you embrace it. So thank you, FIFA, for whatever you're doing right now. We have a couple quarterfinals set. France and Morocco will be one of them. And last night...
You're going down, Mark, by the way. Going down. I got
That sure
Morocco
seems
still
like
in my team pool.
I think James Boyd's got a couple left.
I think I've got one. I think France is the only one holding on right now.
I don't
got
believe
Morocco and Spain.
any of us had Norway left. They will take on England coming up on Saturday. England, one of my teams, left here. If you did not stay up last night, you missed just a wild atmosphere down there in Mexico City. Just an epic game. Tons of action, frankly. England goes 10-man down relatively early in the second half, defending just their hearts out the rest of the way. And the Mexican fans, you can only imagine their emotion as once again they come up short. Brazil also coming up short with that one. And I'd be remiss not to mention, I think the story so far of the World Cup, certainly one of them, and that's Cape Verde. That match against Argentina, boys,
man.
That was Cinderella trading blows with arguably the best team in the world.
Yeah, I was reading something, Kevin, about how Cape Verde, they're as big as like Kansas City, and they were going up against this level of team and history. And of course, on the other side is Messi. So that was some thrilling football, as they say. So, I mean, there's nothing you can really hang your head over. Of course, you want to win, a lot of tears after the match, but that's when you look back on 30 years from now and say, hey, we were there, we made the best team in the world feel us.
Yeah, that was one that I thought the announcers did a great job kind of capturing. Stu Holden at the end of the game, just kind of offered a thank you to Cape Verde. Like, thank you for providing this story for us. And the images, them flying back to their home country over the weekend. I mean, some of those images were really, really cool to see. So,
how about the one guy, he scores and then runs and goes finds his girlfriend.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, that better be a wife after this.
I was like, are they going to be a man down for the next few minutes here?
It did take a while to get her, but that was quite the moment. And the image from that was pretty cool.
I got nervous. I'm like, let's find her quick and let's get back on the pitch here. Last night, the Fever get it done out west. So they've got a long road trip. They're out west for an entire week here. They beat the Las Vegas Aces. Now, no Caitlin Clark for the Fever. No Asia Wilson for the Aces. But, James, what has been typical, really, of the Fever without Caitlin Clark, their turnover numbers were a little bit lower last night. Kelsey Mitchell, Leah Boston, really good. They did the heavy lifting and their defense. I mean, 68 points allowed. Granted, we probably have to throw in the context of no Asia Wilson. A nice start to their Western trip.
Yes, a win is a win at this point, and you're looking at a team that really hasn't strung together a lot of good victories, in my opinion. At least they've kind of been up and down. They've won 3 in a row or lost 3 in a row, whatever the case may be. So still kind of a middling team, but a good win yesterday, I thought. And then Aaliyah Boston, shout out to her for the development of her three-point shot because she's becoming better and better at that position on the floor and the spacing it allows for when you're 5, your center can step out and shoot. It helps the rest of your team.
Are we thinking Caitlin Clark back for Wednesday or Thursday? That is a back-to-back on the schedule. It seems like we're still lacking maybe a definite answer on that.
Yeah, well, she said at practice the other day when she finally broke her silence after being out for a while that the plan was to come back for one of these back-to-backs. I don't know if it's both, but I would expect to see her on the floor here in the next couple of days.
So Wednesday at the Sparks, Thursday at the Mercury. They'll wrap it up coming up on Sunday back in Las Vegas. So again, a lengthy road trip here for the Indiana fever. Major League Baseball from over the weekend. Mark, your Cubs avoided a sweep by the Cardinals. Is that right? Yesterday,
That we did.
Reds horrific. They beat the Orioles, but who cares? They're terrible at this point of the season. Indianapolis Indians back at home this week, and it's their 30th anniversary over at Victory Field, which is just amazing to me that Victory Field is 30 years old. So the Indians will celebrate that here coming up on Saturday. Again, the Pacers, they've got Summer League action later this week, and the Kelly Oubre deal can become official at noon today. Anything Pacer-wise, anything league-wide, James, that really kind of caught your eye? It seems like we've had a quieter 48-hour period here with the league before things become official today.
Yeah, I know you all probably covered a lot of this stuff last week, but just catching up with myself, the balance of power in the East looks a little different than it did a week ago. So you have Jaylen Brown now with Philly, Kawhi Leonard going back to Toronto. So even with all that star movement, I still feel like the Pacers should be right there in the mix as far as perhaps that second tier of teams. I'll put the Knicks on a tier of their own and give them that respect of being the champions. But after that, I feel good, even though some players have, joined different teams. You have different alliances. Giannis, you can't overlook him going to Miami. I get all that, but I like this healthy Pacers team. I think Kelly Oubre is exactly what they needed to kind of upgrade their bench, add more size than Benedict Mathurin perhaps at that wing position. So I'm good with it.
Shout out to Pato Ward. It's been a year of him really not having, I think, anywhere near the amount of success that he's used to, or once he gets into Victory Circle there at Mid-Ohio. Yesterday, his teammate for now, Christian Lundgaard, finishing second, Kyle Kirkwood third there. So Pato, again, no podiums all year. Lundgaard seemingly, definitely has had the better season, and now is he the odd man out at Arrow McLaren? We saw the Scott Dixon news leading into Mid-Ohio. Officially, he is not going to return to Chip Ganassi Racing after 25 years. Rumors about Dixon and Felix Rosenquist going to McLaren. So, a whole lot in the IndyCar paddock and some musical chairs there. They will have a week off, and then Nashville coming up on July 19th. And Wimbledon, I believe we're into the final 16, I want to say, over on the grass there in Wimbledon today. So you'll get busy men and women action as we get into the championship for each of those coming up here this weekend. All right, coming up on the other side, much more on our thoughts, Kelly Oubre related, and what the Pacers are getting in the veteran forward, and more on tonight. We are 12 and a half hours away. Looks like, if I'm seeing this correctly, JMV, a little watch party on Monument Circle today. Do you know anything about that, Mark?
I do not. No.
It's written on the big whiteboard in here, so I assume that was kind of maybe a Flo Balogun thing, maybe a last-minute sort of action here as JMV sounds like we'll be
Just
broadcasting.
tell them to keep, things PG, please.
Well, yeah.
JMV can have a good time.
I think he starts at the little PG-13 action there. So we'll have a little watch party action tonight coming up on Monument Circle, 8 o'clock. It's the United States and Belgium. Good Monday morning to you. Thanks for starting your week off with us. It is the Fan Morning Show here. Kevin Bowe and James Boyd and Mark Dighton.
Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Was that a bit fitting after last night, Mark Dykton?
Oh, how epic was that? The crowd singing Oasis after a victory with the players. That was awesome.
Dude, I'm going to miss the World Cup. I know we got a couple more weeks of it, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And I get that we're getting some great matches, which I think is playing into it. But, yeah, just the emotion of it all. And I don't know. There's something about I know it's weird. People want more action, and I totally get that from a sporting standpoint. But you watched that match last night, and that was plenty of action in a 3-2 match, as it was England surviving literally a road atmosphere in Mexico City. They defeat Mexico in just a tremendous match. So looking forward to tonight, 8 o'clock, the United States and Belgium trying to punch a ticket into the final 8. Much more on that, and the big news yesterday, of course, of Flo Balogun being cleared to play, and potentially the maybe the shadiness around that. James, let's go back to the Pacers here for a second. You mentioned they're just above the luxury tax. I think for the most part, the thought is their substantial work of the offseason is now complete. We will see if anything, lingering can happen here, but I think that's kind of the prevailing thought. Are they better? How much better are they than June 2025?
Oh, that's a tough question, because obviously that June 2025 team was perhaps a Achilles away from winning it all. So I'm not going to say they're better than that team, because I haven't seen this team fully together, but I like how they've kind of done some things on the margin, so to speak. Obviously, the big move was Zubac's trade. And even with the fallout of not getting the top 4 pick, I think the addition of Kelly Oubre and then just the return of healthy players should get you right back in the mix. And honestly, that's what you want. I look at the NBA now, Kevin, and there really aren't too many teams like they were in the past where you could just say right now today, oh, it's going to be LeBron and Steph in the finals again. That hasn't been the case. And so as long as they're in the mix, and by in the mix, I mean legitimate contenders, which I think on paper they would be, I'm fine with it. I like the moves that they've made. So I'll say they're slightly worse than what we saw a year ago at this time, but that's only because I haven't seen these guys on the floor together.
Yeah, I think for me, it's almost, there's kind of 2 elements to the question. One is obviously Halliburton's health, okay? That's one. 2 would be this: Benedict Mathurin, Miles Turner versus Ivica Zubac and Kelly Oubre.
That's a good way to look at it, I think.
I would assume most people look at Zubac and Oubre and think that's a better duo than Mathurin and Turner. Older, but better, I would think. Now, obviously, the Halliburton health, and again, I've made this video game analogy just because I don't know, maybe it's simple for more people in my generation to relate to, but like if Halliburton is listed as a 96 on NBA 2K, post Achilles, is he an 88 for the time being? And how does that kind of impact some things? So, again, to me, Oubre, he's just kind of a different Mathurin. He's taller. I think they aren't exactly the same player, to be clear, but I think there are some similarities into how their role will be viewed here with Indiana. Oubre definitely can be an effective driver, driving to set other people up, and there's a streaky element maybe to their shooting ability. Oubre is taller. Does that help him out a little bit more defensively? There are some questions with Mathurin on that end of it there. And again, when you look at the East right now, James, as you pointed out, Kawhi Leonard now to the Raptors, and the fact that Jaylen Brown is staying in the East, even Giannis to a degree, the fact that he's staying in the East as well. We have talked about this with the Pacers of just, do you have enough in the wing depth category? So Oubre, I think, kind of fits you a little bit more with that. For those that care about this part of the game, he does have the same agent as Tyrese Halliburton, so you would venture to guess there is a little bit of familiarity on that frontier. And, I think like Mathurin, he plays with some swagger. When you watch Kelly Oubre play, there will be nights where you will probably be frustrated by him, but there'll be other nights that I'm like, no, yeah. Like some of those types of plays.
That is his game for sure.
That I think Mathurin had as well.
But I think also from a defensive perspective, there are some ups and downs on that end as well, but I think he offers a bit more upside than Mather just because of the size factor alone. Being 6'8", you need those type of players with that type of length, especially come playoff time, whereas Mather, I think, is 6'4". So even though at times he was capable of being a pretty decent defender, I just don't think he offers the same sort of skill set that Kelly Oubre does on that side of the ball. So those are the things. Again, talk about margins, because you're not going to overhaul your team when you have had a good one when you're healthy, thinking of the Pacers. So I'm excited to see what they can do coming together. Now it's kind of that weird part of the offseason where you have to wait so long, it feels like, before you finally get a glimpse of the changes and the health of Halliburton. So I don't know how locked in we were in the past when it came to Pacers preseason games, but that first one that Tyrese Halliburton and company is available for will certainly be something we all circle.
Yeah, and again, the Oubre deal can become official coming up at noon today. Pacers off to Summer League here later this week. Their first game for Braden Smith and company will be Friday. I'm seeing this a few times here, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on this Monday morning, because obviously we are extremely biased when it comes to this. But the general comment, and now this has been a couple of times here on this Monday morning, I think the whole Balogun thing is gross, honestly. Should we care about the process? And I might say this sports wide. Should we care about process or result? Because to me, universally, the result seems obvious. It was not a red card. Should not have been a red card. So when we talk about sports and we talk about, oh my gosh, they're going to the monitor again, and what's a catch and what's not a catch, and are we really spotting the football in that manner in 2026 in the NFL? Like, what should we care about? The messy process that seemingly probably occurred with this decision, or that the result is the correct result, and whether he plays for the United States, Belgium, Cape Verde, or Mexico, it shouldn't have been a red card, and he's playing tonight.
I should probably care about the process and how unprecedented this is. Is it a slippery slope for the host country to get a benefit like this when you have a president who says he reached out to FIFA? I'd imagine that comes with some sort of second look. I can't sit here with a straight face and say, oh, I had nothing to do with it. Like, if he doesn't make that call, are we sitting here today talking about Balogun being available? I would venture to say probably not. So from that perspective, yes, I get it. It's probably not fair, but selfishly, I've never cared about fair when I'm thinking about the team I want to win.
Well, look at England, because they had a guy sent off yesterday. They were kind of asking their manager, like, well, are you going to appeal the red card? And he was like, is this the process now? Can we appeal every yellow card, every red card?
Mark. Yeah.
He's like, what are we doing here?
Well, and it's a good point to bring up, Mark, when you mention some of the yellows, too, because, again, we're at the stage now where if you get yellows in, consecutive matches, then you are suspended for the next match. You know, it carries that sort of weight to it. It's not the send-off of the Balogun thing. So, you know, to me, I probably a little bit more on just whatever's correct. Like, figure that out. What is correct? And again, it probably is messy. FIFA is the definition of messy. I mean, hell, them and the IOC, the Olympic Committee, those are probably our two organizations that make college football seem like a bunch of, nuns when, they're going about their actions there. But I'm trying to remove myself from the, obvious passion that I have and desire to see the United States advance, and just think, like, I just assumed right away that you'd be able to appeal it. I didn't realize it until I think they started talking about it on the telecast. They certainly talked about it post-match there on Wednesday night, of saying, oh no, you can't appeal this. And I'm like, I think being a soccer ref is one of the harder officiating jobs in all of sports. I mean, Look how big that pitch is. You got 22 dudes. You're running with your back to the play and to numerous players so many times during the game. And I get it. We have VAR to help you out. But, obviously defining what a red card is one thing to one ref, and it's another thing to another. And the flow of the match, I would say, Dick, did you warn that guy earlier? Did you not warn that guy? That probably has some influence in it as well. So,
and there's so much flopping, by the way, that makes it a little bit harder to discern what's real and what's not.
I know they should have. If you fall to the ground, there should be like a little somehow a gadget on you. You can't get up for X amount of seconds.
Well, my solution was
you good with that?
if you're down with a legit injury, that's one thing. If you're down for more than 10 seconds, you're just looking for a call, then your team has to use a substitution.
I think if you go down on the ground, that well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. The ref should be able to tase you on the ground for 10 seconds.
Johnny Knoxville out there.
Yeah, a scene from Jackass, right?
That
Mark?
might be a little problematic.
Didn't you play Jackass, the theme song last week?
Yeah.
At one point there, what was the reference?
Because the new movie came out.
Theaters.
Yeah.
We
We can tase somebody.
Do you guys find? Because I don't. Do you find the hot dog eating contest disgusting?
I don't. I think I was brainwashed by my parents growing up, where they were like, "Oh, that's such a waste of food. You should never do that." And now I'm just like, well, he's an athlete. Okay? Joey Chestnut, one of the greatest athletes of our era.
Yeah.
I really can't be mad at it. And it's not like I'm going to eat those hot dogs. So, whatever.
Well, pray for Joe's Grill in Westfield, too, with Joey Chestnut coming back there to celebrate that. Pray for the people, maybe, inside of Joe's Grill. Probably.
I forgot about that.
Do you think you could eat more hot dogs or more lemonade? Because you've seen the guy that drinks like the 22 gallons of lemonade or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, I'll be terrible at both. But I'd probably go a hot dog. I just feel like fluids, like once I drink one or two, like there's just not a lot of room left there. I feel like I can't force myself to drink something more than I can force myself to eat something.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be on with James. I'd be terrible at both. But yeah, I think, and I had a lot of different type of fluids here over the past week or so. But man, it just fills you up so much. Now, if I could, relieve myself as quickly as sometimes I do when I'm, drink a little harder stuff, then maybe that would be better. You can't really relieve yourself from a hot dog standpoint. But I was looking at it.
What happens under the table happens under the table, Kevin.
Did you see the Conti guy in the hot dog eating contest?
No.
Did you guys watch it? I was locked in. This Conti fellow with long hair, I swear it flashed up with like 2 minutes left in the competition. He had eaten 6 hot dogs. I'm like, did they just put a normal human up there? Because haven't we always thought about this? Like in the 100-meter dash, you put Mark Dighton next to Usain Bolt,
right?
Just to see the discrepancy on that end. And here's this Conti guy. I'm like, dear Lord, did he? Does he have a tummy ache? What in the world's going on? How is he a finalist here in the hot dog eating contest where Chestnut's down in 67 on? And I thought he was going to get 67, which just would have made every kid in America. You imagine how many 6-7s we would have got for that?
That would have reignited the trend. No, 6 hot dogs. Yeah, I could eat 6 hot dogs just watching that thing. How are you only doing that and you're up on the big board? How's that work?
Yeah, it's a little embarrassing. I mean, you're not even. How do you explain that to your family, to those who watch from home? You get on the big stage, you crap your pants like that? Come on now.
Yeah, well, Eminem had a song about it, right? One shot, one opportunity. Vomit on a sweat already from mom's hot dogs or maybe mom's spaghetti on that end. We will talk some more soccer. James, you've gone into your Rolodex here with a soccer expert here in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, shout out to my buddy, Oubre Benatar. I went to college with him at Illinois, but he's a huge soccer fan. He's also a Next Star World Cup host, works for NBC Columbus or CBS Columbus. I have to double check that. But yeah, good dude, huge soccer fan, knows his stuff. And so he'll be able to give us all of the takes when it comes to Team USA as well as the World Cup at large.
Tony East at 9 to talk where the Pacers are at here. Again, the Kelly Oubre signing can become official a little bit later today. Mark, I think this happened right after maybe we signed off on Tuesday, but I loved to see the announcement from the NBA of the NBA Cup finale coming up in December will be at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Just to remind everybody, they have taken the semifinals and the finals and moved them to Vegas in recent years. I remember when the Pacers played out there against the Lakers, the atmosphere, in particular for the semifinal, was terrible. Obviously, at Hinkle, you're going to get a smaller venue there, and it will just be a championship. I believe the semifinals are now going to be on the home courts of whatever their respective teams that is the better seed. But I think this is super cool. I love it. I think it's unique by the NBA to try and switch it up a little bit there. I think you'll see a lot of players embrace, kind of the nostalgia aspect of being inside a Hinkle Fieldhouse. I'm picturing like the San Antonio Spurs and Victor Wembanyama at a half-liter after party, or Victor Wembanyama trying to get up the stairs at Mama Corolla's to celebrate, which is making me laugh. And who knows? Maybe the Pacers will be getting a little home away from home there in Hinkle Fieldhouse. December 11th. That is a Friday there. The Hinkle Fieldhouse hosting the NBA Cup finale.
I like it.
That's
I like
really
it a
cool.
lot.
I know we were debating, should they be at different sites? Is it too gimmicky? But then they said Hinkle, and I was like, all right, well, I'm on board. Again, I'm all for things that don't make sense until they benefit me.
Now, our tickets can be able to get, the public can be able to get these tickets. Or it's going to be like a
That's also a good
hoity-toity
question. Yeah,
thing.
now because it's not as big a venue as others.
So I saw this, Mark. Fans can register their interest in tickets for the game, which will go on sale to the public this fall by going to NBAevents.com. So that's where I would start. I've always said this about the NBA Cup, Mark. I would like to see, let's say, season ticket holders. You can have a little box you can check on your package, season ticket package at the start of the year, to say, would you want to purchase NBA Cup tickets if we make it there? So therefore, like in Vegas, for example, let's say you would have gotten 500 season ticket members that would have said yes. So then you create a little bit of home atmosphere. Same thing here for Hinkle. 9,100 seats, right? I think it'd be cool if in that 9,100, you'd get a couple hundred that, let's call it Spurs, let's call it Spurs Knicks for the final. You get a couple hundred of their season ticket members that can make this a thing. And you create just a little bit of a non-neutral atmosphere. Because, guys, do you remember the Vegas atmospheres? They were horrible. And they were like, I remember the Pacers played the Bucks at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Anybody ever been to Vegas? 2 o'clock in the afternoon? People were still in REM sleep at that hour.
We're going to say you're recovering, and then you could see it on television where there were a lot of empty seats.
So, yeah, I think it would be nice to see this aspect of it. Now, the Pacers, their group has come out for the NBA Cup. Knicks, Cavs, 76ers, Heat. How about that? I mean, those are five. If I told you right now those 5 teams were the top 7 of the Eastern Conference, you'd probably say yes. Knicks, Cavs, 76ers, Heat, and Pacers. And that's your group for the NBA Cup. So, again, that is a little bit of an October-November feel to your schedule. So this Pacers schedule that we'll await coming out could be a little bit front-loaded, which, similar to the Colts schedule, I think is one that we debate because you obviously have Tyrese Halliburton coming off the torn Achilles. Where is he going to be at? And just in general, you are incorporating, I think, a much different type of center there. So one thing to note in regards to the Pacers schedule here coming up this season.
Kevin wants Timothy Chalamet at Hinkle Fieldhouse, is what he said. He
I
wants
think
the
it'll be-
diehards. He wants the season ticket holders. He wants a seat with Chalamet sitting there.
I think it'll be cool. I think
Right next to Blue.
I think the NBA. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Chalamet's in the Wild Man room before the game. He's going in there in the West Gym, getting some shots up before the game there. But we don't want Chalamet in there, right? Because that's the Knicks are in the same group as the Pacers.
That's right.
Mark, that Norwegian dude. That man has me in awe.
Well, you said you were scared for Maddie to see him, but I feel like you're getting a bit of a man crush on him as well.
I know. I feel like
He's got the smile. He's got the hair flowing.
I feel like your wife towards Pato Award.
Oh, my God. She was giddy that he won Mid-Ohio yesterday and then was rooting for Mexico because he is of Mexican descent and was rooting for it. She felt the need to root
she's
for it.
all in.
I was like, she's like, who do you want to win? I'm like, England. She's like, no, Mexico. I was like, why? Pato. I'm like, oh, for God's sake. This never ends.
I will say, watching the Norway celebration yesterday after their win, I mean, how great is that? It's got the drum on the field. Everybody's rowing.
I love everything about the post-game celebrations at the World Cup. It's awesome.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's cool. You know, again, corruption abound when it comes to FIFA, and there's a million things that they don't do right. But the fact that on these neutral sites they allow for those moments, I mean, I thought it was really cool the other night that the U.S. kind of basking in their post-match glory, and Country Roads this, and Poach is starting his USA chants and all of that. I think those are some of my favorite moments, Mark. I mean, you mentioned England last night, and there's part of me I thought, get the hell out of that stadium.
Oh, I know. Some people are saying you should stay 7-8 hours after the game ends just to make sure, because There might have been a lot of hurt feelings out there, especially in your enemy territory in Mexico City.
Yeah, it was tremendous. If you did not stay up and watch last night, England beats Mexico 3-2. 11 minutes of stoppage time. I don't think I've ever seen that.
No, and then the multiple corners at the end. I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna come down to it. I feel like
That's the other part that stresses me out when it comes to watching football, because the extra time, I'm like, okay, but how much exactly is the extra time?
Well, and again, this kind of gets back into the conversation. There's so much gray area within the sport. So, like the red card, yellow card debate to me is filled with gray area. So that's why I do sit here. And yes, obviously the process seems rather shady. If roles were reversed, would I be ranting and raving the other way on this Monday morning? I like to think I wouldn't be. To me, it's this: get it right. I largely don't care how you get it right. Just get it right. Make the call correct. That's why all these sports have adopted so much of the technology, their own versions of VAR. It's why the NBA and Saugatuck, all the jokes about that, and how many times in college basketball do we go to the monitor? All you want is, to me, as fair as possible. And you're not going to be perfect, but he already sat for 30 minutes of the game. I don't need him sitting for another 90. To me, that particular foul did not warrant that type of punishment.
somebody said extra time in soccer is built on vibes. You just kind of go with the flow. Like, oh, let him have one more corner.
Oh,
What's
one
the
more
worst that
drink.
could happen?
Yeah, I'm gonna have one more drink, and then I'll call it a night. We'll talk some more soccer coming up on the other side. Tony East gonna join us at 9. It is a little overcast Monday morning here in the Circle City. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, Mark Dykton. We are back together. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Well, 8 o'clock on a Monday that in 12 hours from now, and I know you love this, James, this probably is your favorite thing about watching the World Cup, because I think this is one of your big sport gripes, okay? You love that when they say the match starts at 8 o'clock, that ball is kicked off at 8 o'clock.
Yes.
That might be your favorite thing about soccer.
It might be. And you know I'm a huge NBA guy. Love the WNBA as well. Both of those leagues don't know what a clock looks like.
So the NFL goes what? They go about 5-ish minutes after the top of the hour, I feel like?
No. I think the NFL is pretty on time. I think when it's 1 p.m., they're kicking off at 1:01.
Oh, I thought it was closer. Well, now we're getting into some big technicalities here. I would say the NBA they're egregious. Their 7:30 tip time is 7:42.
Yeah. Which
And
I hate.
I would say the NFL, yeah, I mean, the NFL is better, but boy, FIFA, hey, if they can get one thing right, it's listening to the United States bitch about red cards and starting their matches on time. You've gone into your Fighting Illini Rolodex here for our next guest?
I have. Shout out to my guy, Oubre Benatar. We did a lot of media stuff together at school. He now works for NBC4 Columbus and is a Next Star World Cup host. So Ori's on the line. Ori, how you doing, my man?
Oh, my God, James, it's so good to talk to you. I still remember, I think I was one of the first guys to introduce myself to you down at the Daily Illini when we were covering Illinois men's gymnastics together like a decade ago. It's like ancient history. But, man, it's great to talk to you guys and happy to be on.
Yeah, yes, long time from that beat. And honestly, no better person to kind of start it off with. You were very gracious to me then, and I knew when we talked about having World Cup guests on, I was like, you know what? This guy was always all over everything soccer when I was in college. Knew you were still up to some things now. So starting with Flo Balogun, what are your thoughts on him having his suspension suspended so he's eligible to play tonight? But then from what I'm reading on the timeline right now, Belgium has a chance to basically appeal it before the match tonight.
Yeah, it's quite the drama for sure. I mean, in terms of the suspension being lifted, I think the simplest way to say it is I'm happy about the result, but I'm maybe not happy about how it went about. The process is a little bit murky, but, I think it wasn't a red card on any day of the week. So I think FIFA made the correct decision in that regard, but how late it was, and then obviously the reports about the White House potentially having some involvement with it. We don't know if their call or anything influence the decision. Depends on who you ask, but I think the Balogun red was never a red. I'm glad that he has the ability to play, to see both these teams at full strength, but maybe this Belgium appeal gets something going. But this isn't the first World Cup controversy surrounding a host. There's been so many over the years. This tournament's now almost a century old, and it has all kinds of dramatic, crazy stories. This is just another one to add into the book.
Ori, well, I guess let me go here. James, do you have any more on the Balogun thing? Because I am ready to move on to the match, but I want to make sure maybe we clear all that out before we move on to they are going to play soccer for a trip to be in the final 8 here in 12 hours, a rather foreign spot from the U.S. So do you have anything more Balogun related?
So here is what we have from our Adam Crafton, who's our lead World Cup reporter at The Athletic. It says Belgium has been granted the right to appeal against FIFA's decision to suspend the one-game ban handed to Flo Balogun less than 24 hours out from the team's round of 16 game against the United States. And so we have to wait and see when they have to have a decision. It says both U.S. Soccer and the Belgian Federation were asked to make submissions by 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Monday morning, which means about around this time, 8 o'clock right now, Eastern Time. So we'll see what happens between
you're telling me this isn't over?
And 12 hours from now when they're supposed to play. Yeah, it's crazy, but I mean, I don't know what to think. I've never gone through this, and everything that I've read has said first, and I know someone else pointed this out, that Ronaldo actually had like a red card that kind of got suspended, but it wasn't during the knockout stage of the World Cup. Like, that's the big difference here when I keep saying it's rather unprecedented. We haven't really seen that from what I was reading as far as historical preferences and stuff like that, or pretense. It hasn't happened in over 50 years. So crazy.
Yeah, I mean, The last time this actually happened was in 1962 when Brazilian star Garrincha got a red card in the semifinal, and then he was able to play in the final. But there was some back history there. The World Cup was in Chile at the time. There was apparently some Chilean influence. Peruvian ref potentially might have been paid off. So there might have been some corruption with that. And then Garrincha ended up playing in the final, and Brazil ended up winning. But even back then in the 60s, there wasn't, this type of governing body. There wasn't VAR. They didn't have all these different types of rules. But, yeah, let's see how this appeal goes. Let's see if Balogun's there or not. I think my mindset was if Balogun was not going to play, this U.S. team is still capable. It would have been a big loss, but this U.S. team is still capable of beating Belgium. I couldn't say the same 12 years ago.
I'm picturing like he's walking out for the national anthem tonight with one of those little kids, and all of a sudden FIFA informs him that he can't play, and the little kid's crying next to Balogun as he has to go back in the lot. Ricardo Pepi, come on up. That's who's needed tonight.
Yeah.
Ori Benatar is with us here. Some great stuff on the Payless Liquors hotline as we were chatting about the World Cup with him. Okay, let's focus on the match, and you were kind of getting to it there. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's history. 12 years ago, Belgium did oust us in a game that I think about, frankly, probably too much. Tim Howard standing on his head, and Chris Wondolowski with one right on the doorstep there. We are the slight favorite in Vegas. Do you believe the U.S. should be the favorite, considering Belgium did beat the United States by multiple goals just a few months ago?
I think so. I mean, you look at that friendly that Belgium played against the U.S. in March in Atlanta. Maybe 4 or 5 guys started in that game for the U.S. that are going to start in tonight's game in Seattle. I think the reason Vegas has us favored is simply because, the U.S. I think has had a more consistent World Cup. Belgium, I think, has been very up and down. They tied Egypt, they tied Iran in the group stage, really struggled against Senegal. I mean, I remember I ran an errand with my wife while Senegal was up 2-0 at our apartment complex. I come back and it's tied 2-2. So it just kind of came out of nowhere. I also think home field advantage is probably a big reason why the United States is favored. And if there's any place that I could pick on the West Coast for this game to be, I would absolutely have picked Lumen Field in Seattle. It's going to be absolutely packed with American fans. The noise levels there are obviously incredible. You think of Beastquake, you think of what happened in the Australia game. So Seattle is the perfect place to have this game. And I also think the American attack, I think the youth of the American attack is really going to be able to run circles around the Belgian defense, which has been really not impressive at this World Cup. I think Belgium, they're coming in a little bit in better form because they had that comeback in the round of 32 against Senegal, but this United States team has been more consistent through the 4 games that they've played compared to the Red Devils.
Again, that is the voice of Ori Benatar, one of my college buddies who's now doing his thing at NBC4 Columbus and is a Next Star World Cup host. So I do want to take a broader picture broader look actually at the World Cup picture here. Erling Haaland, Ori, I looked and saw a stat yesterday. I'm not some expert and I'm not into the sport as deeply as you are, but for this man to have as many World Cup goals in this tournament as his entire country had in previous tournaments combined is pretty special. So what are we witnessing from him and that group?
I mean, this Norway team came into this World Cup in great form. They won all of their qualifying matches. Holland, I think, scored, 16 goals in 8 qualification games. The guy is just an out-and-out, pure number 9 striker, just fantastic when it comes to scoring goals with so little touches. I think that's the thing that makes him so great. He doesn't need to get 100 or 150 touches in a match to impact the game. I think he only had maybe 30-some or 40-some touches against Brazil. Quick cross, gets a header in, and then a quick shot to ice the game against the 5-time champion. So, I mean, Erling Haaland has been, a revelation for this Norwegian team. Having a striker like that at a World Cup can absolutely propel you. I actually predicted that Norway was going to beat Brazil all the way back before the tournament. So I've been high on the Norway train here. Their fan atmosphere has been fantastic with the rowing of the boat and the drums, with the Viking, culture there. But, I mean, what a game we're going to have on Saturday in Miami when Erling Haaland and Norway take on Harry Kane and England. I mean, these are the 2 best number 9 central strikers in the world, and they're going to face off for a semifinal spot. So, and not to mention the fact that Haaland now is tied with Mbappe and Messi in the Golden Boot race. This Golden Boot race has just been incredible to witness, and seeing all the top guys in the world perform so well at this tournament, it just makes it even better.
Ori, last one from me. What defines success now for the United States in this World Cup?
That's a good question. So to me, I think round of 16 was kind of, this is where we know we can go. And then depending on the matchup, let's see if we can get past that. This is a matchup where the United States can win. I think making a quarterfinal would make this just above, even more of a success than it already is. I think this World Cup is still probably a success, even with a loss tonight. But I would say it's, we're back at this point again, where it's a round of 16, and maybe we lose in the round of 16 to a team that has more, quote unquote, more talent. I think the United States is more talented this time around. But I think getting to a quarterfinal really elevates into, this is a historic World Cup for this U.S. team to continue to grow the sport even greater. Now, granted, if the United States wins tonight, they got to play Spain or Portugal in the quarterfinal. That is going to be a real tall task for them, but they got to get the job done tonight first. So I think if they lose tonight and it's close, I still think people will go home, happy to see how this tournament went for the U.S., but at the same time, there'll be those thoughts of, well, again, round of 16, this seems to be where we can peak. But if we can get past the round of 16 and make it to a quarterfinal, then sky's the limit for this team in the future.
Ori, last one for me, and selfishly, I want to ask this. Where did your love of soccer come from? Because, again, you were always all over this stuff, even back in the college days when it wasn't a World Cup year.
Yeah, I mean, this is a sport that my family has, loved and cherished for so long. We've grown up with the sport this whole time, because I've got family that hails from North Africa, hails from the Middle East. So obviously in those parts of the world, this sport is a religion. It's a religion really everywhere. And it's starting to become that way a little bit in the United States. Maybe not to that level, but it's great to see that. But yeah, I mean, I've played the sport my whole life. I've watched the sport my whole life. I've, been blessed to have a family that, has been so supportive of me pursuing this, and also, enjoys the World Cup so much. I mean, it doesn't matter what game is on. It doesn't matter who's playing. I'm always trying to watch. I'm always trying to talk about it with my dad and my brother and my cousins, etc. I got to go to a game in Atlanta. I got to see the Cape Verde tie against Spain. So that was really, really incredible. But yeah, I mean, this is a sport that I will cherish forever. And then, my children and grandchildren will learn to cherish it too, because this is just the Benatar way is, soccer, especially international tournaments, the World specifically, this is really where I think sports is at its absolute peak.
Well, look, man, I know we talked about catching up later off of air, of course, but thanks for spending some time with us this morning, and I'll check in with you very soon, buddy.
All right. Thanks, guys. Go USA.
Thank you, Ori. That was good stuff.
Yeah, I told you. He's a passionate fan,
stuff, yeah.
Passionate historian. He gave you the whole backstory about, the bribes back in the day, and won't be surprised that bribes still work sometime today.
I'm going to need another United States win to define this.
We need that Lubbock County judge
as success. Yeah, I literally thought that on Wednesday night when the red card was shown. I thought we need that Lubbock County judge to somehow appear, and seemingly he has in this sort of decision. But yeah, to define a successful World Cup for the U.S., it can't end tonight. I mean, hell, they're favored. You want to play that game? They're favored. I get Belgium has some history, but they're an older team, and I don't think they've played as Ori, I thought, laid out pretty well there. They haven't played as well here in the World Cup as the United States. And I don't think it should be overlooked. I get it didn't work for Mexico last night, but the United States are on home soil. Hell, you didn't even have to qualify for the World Cup. Like, there's been a lot given to the U.S. in this instance. You were in the easier group as one of the host countries. Like, you have to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
These opportunities don't grow on trees health-wise. You seemingly are in pretty good health, So I'm going to need another win before I start saying successful World Cup or not.
Well, first, we're gonna need to win away from the pitch. Is he going to play? Could you imagine if – now, I was reading further throughout the story when we were talking to Ori Benatar, this story in The Athletic. It does sound like it would be kind of crazy to get a ruling on this appeal before tonight's game because it's so close before the game. But every time we've said something in the past, it's been kind of crazy or unprecedented. It's happened. So we will see what happens 12 hours from now.
What's new evidence?
I'm not so sure that there's new evidence. I think it's just – hey, we made this decision, the other team has a right to appeal. Which is weird because the team that was wronged is not the team that was involved in it. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't Bosnia. It's the new team that you're facing. So a lot of it's convoluted. A lot of it's a little complicated to me. But nevertheless, there's hope for Balogun to be on the pitch tonight. And I would venture to say, if you want to advance, you probably need that guy.
I mean, there'd be nothing more FIFA than all of a sudden he gets banned at 2:00 today. Nothing more FIFA than that.
I mean, it was supposed to be. This guy doesn't have a chance to play at all. So what can I say?
8:00 tonight, United States, Belgium, Spain, Portugal, 3:00 today. As already mentioned, the winners of those two games will face off in the quarterfinal. That'll be Friday. So Friday afternoon, if you're looking for a potential next United States match, that's when it would be. You fresh off of accepting the award for Indiana Sports Writer of the Year. That's why you were out last week. Was there any speech? Any sort of how was the ceremony?
It was cool. I did not give a speech. We just had a chance to walk across stage and have our names announced. We had little intros and things like that. Some people had a little more fun than others. I kept mine rather professional because I was thinking my mom is here. I don't want her to think that I don't take my job seriously, even though the award probably says that I do. So it was a good time. I had a chance to catch up with a lot of people from around the country that I don't see normally in one place. And then you got a chance to hear from the Hall of Fame inductees, one of them being Adrian Wojnarowski, who was awesome. Talked a lot about, all the stuff that he's done throughout his career and then why he walked away. That was one of the questions I got a chance to ask him at an earlier panel throughout the day is like, when did you realize that enough was enough for someone who's at the top of the reporting world? And so hearing his perspective on life and trying to balance those things. And now he's the general manager at St. Bonaventure and trying to figure out how to get their men's program, at a better, higher level was interesting. So him, and then had a chance to really say thank you to Sean McDonough for joining our show leading up to the national championship. And he was awesome as well. Gave a lot of perspective on, entering the Hall of Fame. And I think his dad was also a Hall of Famer and things like that. So it was cool to hear from him. And he mentioned that his dad actually found out that he was a Hall of Famer, had been inducted into the National Sports Media Association Hall of Fame. And that same day he passed away, unfortunately. So he was saying how it really meant a lot for him to have the opportunity to have his whole family there. He actually had John Harbaugh there, one of his representatives. So yeah, it was a lot of big wigs in the room. And I was just happened to be one of those pretending to be one.
Really cool. Love that. Rob Blackman, Chris Teneri, they also represented both in radio or one in TV. I guess I should probably know that.
No, so it was Sportscaster, so I guess it covers radio and TV.
Got it.
But if there's a tie, they basically vote again. If there's still a tie, then they just award two people. So two great guys, great fans of our show, or great guests on our show, I should say, and we're fans of theirs.
Zero corruption there with awarding a tie, in my opinion, to those two individuals. We still got to get to our GOATs of the weekend. Tony East going to join us coming up at 9. Again, the Kelly Oubre deal can become official today at noon. Is there anything left for the Pacers? How much better does he feel like the Pacers have gotten here? Some of the questions we'll throw Tony's way coming up here in about 40 minutes. Mark, let's go ahead and check it down.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, let's begin actually with Indiana Fever. James, last night without Caitlin Clark, no Asia Wilson, we should note, for the Las Vegas Aces. Fever really kind of blew that game open right around halftime into the third quarter. Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, very, very good in that end. And again, it's not like the Aces are void of talent without Asia Wilson. They have plenty of talent there. But the Fever start off their West Coast trip with a 16-point win. It sounds like potentially Caitlin Clark Wednesday or Thursday. Is that right? Back-to-back for the Fever coming up at the Sparks and then at the Mercury?
Yes, that is what she said during her availability last week. So I'm excited to see her back in the flow and very curious to see if they actually play her in a back-to-back or if it's just one game or the other.
Well, and one thing to note here, I mean, I believe Kelsey Plum is still out for the Sparks. You could potentially sit Caitlin like you did last time you played the Sparks, and then play her against the Mercury the next night?
Or do you do the inverse of that so you can avoid all controversy?
Boy, some lingering fireworks certainly were going off in my neighborhood last night. I think we could have some Thursday night. Those are 10 o'clock tips. Again, back-to-back there. Sparks and Mercury for the Fever. All right, yesterday, World Cup, Mark, two, I thought, tremendous matches there. Norway outsteamed Brazil. Brazil seems to do this a lot in recent World Cups here, where all this hype and then they bow out early. They were rowing the Norwegian contingent. Certainly one of the stories of the tournament. And Mark, that scene last night I mean, when the game got delayed, I was a little frustrated. I'm like, gosh, really? Sunday night, holiday weekend, am I going to make it all the way till, I mean, hell, it was close to, what was it, 11:30 probably when that game
Yeah,
ended.
by the time it ended, yeah.
Oh, dude, I was locked in. Took me 20 more minutes to go to bed. I was just back and forth, tossing and turning. That game was epic. Epic. England 3-2 over Mexico in Mexico City.
Yeah, those are both great games, and there's some, obviously, United States, Belgium tonight. But Portugal, Spain, is this the last time we're seeing Cristiano Ronaldo in a World Cup? That should be an interesting pre-appetizer tonight.
So this will match, I guess, our third set of quarterfinals. So we know we're going to get France and Morocco in one of the quarterfinals. That'll come up on Thursday. And then the other one has been set now with Norway and England. So as Mark said, we will see if the winners of today, they're going to match coming up on Friday. I believe that's Friday afternoon here as we are into the final 8 now. Into the World Cup once we get through today. Tomorrow, what do we got? Argentina, Egypt, and
Switzerland, Colombia.
Colombia, that's right. Switzerland, Colombia, the second match coming up tomorrow. Mid-Ohio this weekend for IndyCar is Pato O'Ward in Victory Lane. He has not been in Victory Lane this season, hasn't even been on the podium. So tons of drama around Arrow McLaren right now and what their seats could hold for next year. Christian Lundgaard on the pole, finishing runner-up. I think there's a lot of question about where he will be next year as well. So those two going 1-2. Kyle Kirkwood finishing third. Alex Palou fifth there at Mid-Ohio. So IndyCar now with the weekend off, and they will have Nashville coming up in a few weeks before a flurry of races throughout August and the first week of September. Major League Baseball from over the weekend. Mark, your Cubs avoided a sweep.
They did, thankfully. Good Lord.
Cubs avoid a sweep there. The Reds are awful at baseball. The White Sox spoke the Guardians. Brewers 3-2 over Arizona. Indianapolis Indians back at home, and the 30th anniversary coming up. You going to venture out there later this week, Mark? 30th anniversary on Saturday night?
I think so. I think we've got some irons in the fire to make that happen.
I think I told you last week I used to have pennants in my room growing up, and I actually had the old Busch Stadium pennant over there on 16th Street, and actually had it was kind of a neon green Victory Field pennant from opening night.
Oh, nice.
So 1996, July 11th there. So 30th anniversary coming up Saturday night there over at Victory Field. And again, the Pacers and Kelly Oubre, that can become official at noon today, and they are off to Summer League a little bit later this week. So Braden Smith in action coming up on Friday. You ever covered an NBA Summer League?
I have, and fittingly, it was when Ronald Norred was the coach of the Summer League team, and now he's the coach of the Butler Bulldogs.
Ronald Norred actually going to join us in studio here coming up during the 8 o'clock hour on Wednesday. So looking forward to chat with him about his first couple months on the job there. Maybe throw him a Hinkle question about the NBA Cup, playing host to that in December. So it's Johnny Carpenter. That's the coach of this year's Summer League team here for the Pacers. And again, Braden Smith and company will get things started on Friday. And we've got Wimbledon action today. We're into, as I look up here, I believe the round of 16 over there in Wimbledon. So Taylor Fritz, the lone American male, still left here, which, again, another thing that's just very confusing to me. Novak Djokovic, Jannik Sinner already into the quarterfinals there. And on the women's side, you'll get things are already started today. Madison Keys for the U.S. women still alive, and there's a couple others from the Americans that are still playing over there in London. All right, coming up on the other side, we'll go with our GOATs of the weekend. Still a couple of lingering thoughts on whether Flo Balogun is going to indeed play tonight. It's this appeals process that we never knew existed, I guess now does exist. So in typical FIFA fashion, this seems to be a bit up in the air as we are 12 hours away from the United States and Belgium out there in Seattle. Good Monday morning to you. Thanks for spending it with us. It is the Fan Morning Show.
We're going to have mostly cloudy skies today with a chance for spotty showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. We'll reach a high near 83 degrees. Shower chances in tonight with lows in the upper 60s. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Amber Hardwick for The Fan.
Hello? I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who looked good, I would call her.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Talk some more Pacers coming up at 9 o'clock. Tony East going to join us. The Kelly Oubre signing can become official here later today. So we'll get Tony's thoughts on that, if indeed he believes this is it for the Pacers from a substantial offseason move list. I mean, I said to you guys to lead off the show, and I mean this in all genuine nature. I can't tell you the last time I've gone through a holiday weekend and gotten to Sunday and Monday, and now Monday morning it is. Hell, last night I didn't sleep great. And I thought to myself here, I can't wait to stay up late tonight and watch a sporting event. Like,
Yeah.
I'm pumped. I'm like, I got some Notre Dame butterflies in the body right now thinking about the United States trying to get to the Final 8 of a World Cup. And, like, I don't think it's just, fake energy. I'm locked in, ready to go.
I think for me, Kevin, it felt like our weekend needed to be extended. And I say that after every 4th of July weekend, but just from a sports viewing perspective, I was like, man, I really wish I could just, kick the feet up with my pops or somebody and just watch this tonight, because it is one of those things that I have kind of circled on the calendar, and I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like I'm some year-round, non-World Cup year soccer watcher, but for the stakes that this game has presented, the drama, even when it comes to the lifted red card on Flo Balogun, to the appeal of it, to is he going to play, is he not, all of that, and then being favored regardless, makes it such a big moment for U.S. men's soccer.
Yeah, and again, the last time the U.S. had this opportunity 12 years ago, it was Belgium, ironically enough. And from what I've learned about, Belgium's team, they're kind of aging in some areas with a few of the core members of that team 12 years ago. So it's, in a way, you look at it and be like, wow, it's the country that, in a great match, one that Tim Howard was outstanding for the United States. That aspect of Belgium is there for you. And if you look at it, the U.S. is a slight favorite in this one, 8 o'clock tonight, USA and Belgium. We've debated this whole, should rules be more about process or result? That's been a big debate here on this Monday morning. We see what I think you take a poll and people would universally agree that was not a red card, a deserved red card on Flo Balogun. But, where's the line drawn in process, result? And I guess, James, like, when these decisions are made, we had someone reach out earlier in the show and goes, and probably speaking a little bit to my heart here, he goes, so if Notre Dame beats Ohio State on the last play, should the president of Ohio State be able to call the head of the NCAA 5 days later and get the outcome reversed because the refs missed the call? Is that apples to apples here?
I don't know if that's apples to apples. That's a tough one to decipher. I guess the way I look at the red card, Kevin, is how much does intent matter? Because it is an egregious kind of penalty. I'm not going to sit here and act like a guy getting his ankle stepped on in that manner is just, normal, or it wasn't my ankle, so who cares? But I don't think it was dirty. And so, again, I'm speaking from a level of ignorance when it comes to the whole process of this thing, because we haven't seen this happen in the knockout stage where a guy has his red card suspended. But is that part of the equation? Is that part of the reevaluation?
Yeah, I guess my thing is this, James. Like, I think there's gray area, obviously, in officiating of all sports. I think being a soccer official would be very difficult. Very difficult to properly hand out cards for 22 players when you're running your you-know-what up and down that pitch. And, hell, many times you've got your back turned to maybe half the players on the field.
I did it in college, and the people never agree with me when I gave out a card. So There you go.
Alumni reffing at college to, what that Australian ref had last night in Mexico City.
Anytime I called offside, I got called a few other names as well.
But I guess I look at the Balogun thing like this. He was punished within the game. He was kicked out of a round of 16 game for 30 minutes.
Right.
That, to me, is enough. There should be no further punishment. That's where I think the appeals process and the evaluation of that comes into play of like, okay, now when you're taking a second look at this, as wishy-washy and as corrupt as FIFA is, you've already punished him within the game.
Right.
So from an NBA standpoint.
And the team, because they were playing 10 men down, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So, like, NBA-wise, what, flagrant 2, doesn't that kick you out of the game and then you're suspended for the next? I think that's a rule in the NBA. Okay. Flagrant 2, you get kicked out of the game. Then in the 24-hour immediate aftermath of the game, now you say, all right, did we get that right? If you didn't get it right, okay, you can now play the next night. But the punishment within the game for me for Balogun was already enough that you're going to have some missed calls. That's sports. Like, my hands are up right now. I get that that's part of it. But when there is extending of punishment after that, that's when I do think some of the process aspects can come into play.
And I wonder, too, how much does the VAR have a factor in, okay, this looks worse than what it actually was? Because when you slow it down frame by frame,
Yeah.
it looks pretty bad. And to give it a fever flavor, we had a similar conversation when it came to the Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark incident. But that's different to me because when you go back and you slow it down from when Caitlin Clark got flagrant fouled, there wasn't a play on the ball from a WNBA perspective. I look back at that play probably 100 times, literally, and I don't see an active basketball play. Whereas with Flo, there is a play for the ball. It just is an unfortunate ending where the guy gets his ankle stepped on. So, yeah, very complicated and very convoluted, but for the purposes of our show, and honestly, for the purposes of the match, it appears like he's going to play. Unless this Belgium appeal comes down in the next 11-ish hours, he's going to play. And that, to me, is a big factor in helping Team USA advance.
You know, I don't.
I'd almost find it
Am I
hilarious. if they
jinxing myself by
reverse-
saying he's going to play?
I'd almost find it hilarious if they reverse their decision.
I know.
And just the blank storm that will come from that.
For the
too.
comedic relief, there is an ounce of me that would kind of want that to happen. But that's purely just the comedic aspect of
Well,
me.
I think the
What
President
do you
Trump
mean? I
response would
called
certainly
you.
be
Why are you reversing it?
box office. But, yeah.
You know, I remember having this conversation last May.
Laughing at Mark.
And again, I don't think it's apples to apples, but like, remember last year after the Indy 500, and the next day, the second place finisher got moved to the back of the field for penalty. And Marcus Ericsson. Can you imagine if Marcus Ericsson would have won the race?
Yeah, I know you guys talked about this.
Milk dumped on him, climbing whatever fence, kissing bricks, off to New York, victory lane, like all of that. And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh yeah, part wasn't working on his car, wasn't whatever properly fixed on his car. So Alex Below, you're our winner. I like just the weirdness to it. And again, I guess this gets into some of the process, to be honest with you, of like, once those cars go through pre-race inspection, is it over?
Should it be over?
You know, yeah. That, I mean, because there is an element of sport of like, you know, when you watch the race happen and you see all those scenes, you know, part of you will remember it for that, and part of you are, you know, or probably more of our rule followers out there will be like, no. His team cheated, or however you want to define that aspect to it there.
Well, there is a good point made here from one of our listeners saying, I would have no issue if FIFA had decided to rescind the suspension on their own, but not 5 days later after a call from the president. That's shady.
Yeah, I mean,
That's actually, I think, a fair critique.
I think the timing is weird that it took that long because, again, it's not like you needed to talk. And by all accounts, I believe the U.S. said that they weren't, like, Poach wasn't consulted. Or,
Right.
you know, Balogun wasn't necessarily consulted in some of this. But I'll go back to what I said earlier. I think the fact that he was punished within that game, to me, is enough. The further punishment, I don't think is necessary at all. Now,
This would have been like what, Wemby with the elbow in the playoffs? He got thrown out of that game, and then he got to play the next game.
Yeah, I think that's, off the top of my head, I think that's kind of what I'm getting at here. Now, Mark, I've been in this boat on occasion here, and I'm asking for your advice. We have a listener from Kentucky reaching out here on the text line, 317-239-1070, to join the conversation there. He goes, pray for all the men like me who will be both watching Love Island with the girlfriend at 9 o'clock on the TV and USA on the phone.
Oh, come on.
Now, look, as someone that lives with a significant other who really enjoys Love Island and the consumption, there is no chance in hell. No chance in hell that will be go. And to be fair to Maddie Bowen, there's no chance in hell she wants that. She'll be locked in on the U.S. tonight over Love Island. That cannot happen.
How is Love Island getting TV1 privileges over the United States against Belgium?
Well,
that's
okay.
disgusting.
Well,
That's more disgusting than watching Chestnut on Saturday.
Can we get a little more information here? Is this a new relationship? Or are you trying to stay in the good graces, trying to make sure,
You
hey,
can kick rocks if it's a new
new,
relationship.
it might need to be old real quick.
I'm just trying to see whoever this listener is. I'm just trying to see the other side of it. That's
You're
all.
telling me I got to watch a bunch of D-bags on an island try to win the hearts of girls over watching USA Belgium? Get out of town.
I get Love Island provides some nice sights on the ice. I fully understand. You can do that during the hydration break if you need that. Coming up tonight. Halftime's 15 minutes long.
Isn't Love Island on like 8 times a week? That can wait.
That part I didn't know until you all told me. I didn't realize that the thing came on every single day.
Watch it later. It's not going anywhere. No one wants to watch sports on tape delay.
This from our guy Chad Sims. How dare that dude even text those words?
I mean, now to be fair, he did not send in his name, which is probably a good thing.
Man.
No, I mean, hell, watching soccer on your phone. I mean, trust me, I've done it a couple times here in recent weeks. It's kind of hard to follow, to be honest with you, man.
If we're talking about phone sports, I think basketball is probably the best one, or football. But yeah, soccer's a little harder to see.
Gosh, dear Lord, boy.
I don't think I've disagreed with a listener more in my life.
Yeah.
No, you take the remote and you say, you can watch Love Island later. This takes precedence.
I just feel like this guy gave his opinion, or not even his opinion, his basically experience, and you all just loaded up the tomatoes.
Hey, with all due
immediately.
With all due respect,
which means no respect at all, but continue.
We can't thank you enough for your loyalty and your listenership. It means the world. Thank you for texting as well. But your girlfriend can kick rocks here on this Monday. All right? Love Island's how long, Mark? An hour?
I couldn't even tell you. You would have a better idea than I would.
Okay, let's say it's an hour. All right, tomorrow night, Switzerland, Colombia can go on your phone, and Love Island can be back on the TV, and you can go back to back.
There's 21 other hours in the day. You could watch it later. Watch it afterwards.
Goats of the weekend coming up on the other side. Tony East talking Pacers. Kelly Oubre. I see we got something on the text line here about what does the Oubre move mean for some of the bench guys, in particular Obi Toppin. We'll talk about that here in a few. Fan Morning Show here on a Monday.
Hey, it's Mark. Oh, my God. I'm hot under the collar right now after this Love Island and World Cup debate. It took a while for the summer temps to get here in earnest, but they are here, and it's been steamy, much like Love Island probably is. Last thing you want to do is step outside. Well, stepping outside is walk in your home and get no relief. Maybe your HVAC system is giving you some warning signs, or maybe it's the years of wear and tear, whatever the case may be. Do what I did. Give the folks Love Heating and Air Conditioning a call today, 317-353-2141, or online, love-hvac.com. Check out all the products and services they provide, like the Heil system they installed my home 3 years ago. They also provide customer reviews, financial options, and you can set up a house call as well. John and Chris Love, they're fourth-generation owners. They'll make sure you're a satisfied customer, just like the Dykton household is. We love our Heil system, and you will love heating and air conditioning. Serving Indianapolis and Central Indiana, family-owned and operated for over a century. The number again, 317-353-2141, or online, love-hvac.com.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
We'll talk Pacers with Tony Eason about 10. Had a texter asking about the signing of Kelly Oubre and what it means for Obi Toppin. James, I think it's what it means more for Jarris Walker. You know, to me, Obi Toppin is a mainstay.
Yeah, I don't see this as a move against Obi Toppin. I think they could actually play pretty well together. If you look at it from a role perspective, yes, Jarris is the first name that comes to mind for me. And also, if they were able to trade Jarris, they will be back under the tax. So, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if there's a perfect 1 through 5 with the second unit right now. Like, To me, James McConnell at the 1. I don't really know who the 2 is. 3 Oubre, 4 Obi, 5 Jay Huff / Micah Potter.
Yeah.
Is your 2 Shepard? Is your 2 Jarris Walker and a super oversized like 2, 3, and 4? Do you roll with more of a 9-man rotation when everyone's healthy? I think those are some questions still left to play out here. But yeah, I look at Oubre and think more of it gets crowded with Jarris Walker than it does anything.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to look at it. I'm looking at I just can't wait for tonight, honestly. I know we've talked about it a lot, but looking at your United States of America shirt.
Rocking it. Little U.S. soccer.
I got some red, white, and blue on as well. Shout out to Home Field. I'm wearing my Indiana All-Star shirt. So, yeah, I'm ready for more fireworks.
I love
Pun
it.
intended.
I love it. Mark Dykton, let's get to our GOATs of the weekend.
Who is the GOAT?
I told you all that I was the greatest of all time.
Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Or GOAT?
This guy sucks.
Of the week.
Mark, how about you lead us off here with what you feel like? Let's go with the good GOAT to lead off.
Okay, I'm going to go. Well, we've been talking about it all morning. I'm going to say just the World Cup in general, specifically these last few days of World Cup games. We're kind of getting down to business here, and they have been great all weekend long. Friday had Egypt over edge Australia in PKs. Argentina held off Cape Verde. Colombia avoided an upset against Ghana. France held off Paraguay. The Vikings of Norway stunned Brazil, and England in hostile territory last night beat Mexico. I hope the good vibes roll tonight for the United States, and we also have a good one again, Spain and Portugal as the appetizer. So they have been very, very good games. I have not been disappointed by a single one so far.
I'll go with, more specifically in regards to the World Cup, Erling Haaland. I think that what he's done for Norway has been very, very impressive, and to have a game like that against a team like Brazil, which has won the World Cup many times over, that was special stuff. He is arguably the best striker in the world, and you're seeing him put his talent on full display on the biggest stage, which is not easy to do.
By the way, we have a text from Maddie Bowen, Love Island watcher, in regards to homeboy that's going Love Island on the TV and USA on the phone. We'll share that upcoming here.
Okay, I like this.
Have a relationship debate that we're trying to offer some, rather candid advice to. Maybe not the most supportive advice, but some candid advice. I think we're all kind of in the same boat here. I'm going to go with the Cape Verde story. To me, like, one of my favorite things to occasionally watch, and it's because I'm a loser, but I love to pull up on YouTube sports images of the decade. ESPN used to do this, and I wish SportsCenter still did this, where they literally a 5-6 minute video to look back on all the sports images of the previous decade. And I feel like I'm watching Cape Verde and this story play out. And in 2030, all of a sudden, if someone created that, the Cape Verde story would pop up. And it would remind me of like what I love about sports. And there was a scene of the little kid, tears running down his face. He throws up the heart to the players on the pitch. The scenes from their airport arrival yesterday back to their home country, just awesome. I got chills kind of thinking about it. And the match itself with Argentina was unbelievable. I mean, hell, you want to see a foul that I thought was more aggressive than Balogun. I thought Messi had one in that match there. So I think it's such a cool story. And to me, that's where I'm going for my good GOAT. I thought Stu Holden was really great, the color announcer, just offering a thank you to Cape Verde for what they brought to the World Cup. I think for a lot of people, they might remember that story more than anything else, and that's saying something because this World Cup, as you alluded to, Mark, has had a lot.
All right. We celebrated America's 250th birthday over the weekend. How, in 250 years, have we still not gotten firework displays correct? We had Chicago that lit off like $1 million worth of fireworks, but there's fog rolled in, so no one could see a damn thing. Got Washington, D.C. lighting theirs on July 5th, and even then they sent off so many that you couldn't even see half of them. What are we doing? How is this so hard? This should not be that difficult. We've been in the country for 250 years, and we still can't figure out firework displays on a national perspective. How can't we figure it out?
I'll go with this, and I think it's on a more serious note. My
I want to
lowercase.
see the sparklers. Let me see something. I
out,
can't
James.
see anything.
Before James goes serious on us, I always love when the first person is up to change goats from good to bad because there's like this pause
Yeah.
and the tone has to change. Mark did such a brilliant job there of kind of like revving his own engine up of like, all right, I just got a little sappy with my World Cup love.
Right.
Now I've got to be like, boom, here's the hammer.
I just saw
Is this
so many
because
people
you like paid to go somewhere, Mark, or something? Did you not get your money's worth or something?
No, I was at my sister-in-law's house and a firework whizzed past my neck. It just missed me. So I was like,
well,
we
glad you're still
had
here.
a close encounter there.
And James, not to interrupt, but
Go ahead.
while we're on it, because again, I think you're going to go in a different direction here. My bad goat is the people setting off fireworks last night.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on. Like, okay, July 4th, fine. You got your one night. It's a Saturday night. I get it. 250.
What if you got some leftovers?
Celebrate. Save whatever. Save them for next year.
Oh, no.
Save them for next
man.
year. I cannot be sitting there in my bed last night at 10 a.m. being like, if that wakes up Nelly, I'm going to be so freaking mad right now. So, Mark,
So fatherhood
you and I
changes your. Have you always felt this way?
always. Well, I mean, definitely more since fatherhood.
Okay,
But I would
fair
say
enough.
even, yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. So I'll pivot, and my bad go to the week. And I know Caitlin Clark broke her silence. What was it, last Friday, about the hard foul, things she's kind of dealt with this season, her back, all these things. I think my lowercase goat are the people who find a problem with everything that she ever says. She has really worn, I think, a lot of hats that a lot of people take for granted when it comes to the spotlight and pressure of being the face of the WNBA. So all the people who keep saying like, oh, she needs to speak up on this or that, and then she does, and then you continue to say, oh, well, it wasn't exactly how I would have said it. Shut up. You people are losers to me. I think that she is a pretty great ambassador for women's basketball, for sports in general, a great example of what your kid should be like, not necessarily when it comes to the antics on the court, but as far as how she carries herself, how she articulates herself off the court. I think Caitlin Clark does not get enough credit for that, and I would not want to be a 24-year-old where every single word that I say is always dissected with somebody saying, well, actually, you're a loser. So there you go.
No, preach. Preach. I think that's very, very well said. Again, Caitlin Clark will continue to monitor back injury-wise Wednesday, Thursday out west for the Fever. Sounds like there's a chance she could play in one of those games, maybe two, but we'll have to await the update on that. All right, speaking of basketball, Tony East talking a little Pacers, Kelly Oubre signing. He joins us next.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Well, I'm a little worried. We'll talk some Pacers here with Tony East in a few. We haven't heard back from our guy on the text line, our Love Island guy.
Oh, man, did you just ruin the relationship?
I've written to him, too. I was like, you can't have this.
Or did you basically let him see the light where he was like, you know what? I'm single again.
TV's all mine tonight. TV's all mine. Let's get Tony East's thoughts on this.
Look, brother, I've had a few of those epiphanies in my day, but continue.
Recently married Tony East. Tony, we had someone on the text line from Kentucky. First off, good morning to you. Reach out and say, pray for all the men like me who will be watching Love Island with the girlfriend at 9 on the TV and USA Belgium on the phone. Are you good? Are you good with that as a recently married man? Would you be good with getting the phone treatment tonight for Love Island on the TV?
You can't. I guess I know a lot of people get dragged into those reality TV type things. I mean, the World Cup's got to supersede, right? It's once every 4 years.
Kind of.
See, but I got to pull you to what do they say? Pull you for a chat.
Oh, I mean, I
got to pull Tony for a chat here.
I know deep down, Tony doesn't mean what he's saying right now. Kind of.
So let's start with it. Is Margot a Love Island consumer?
No, but I know of this journey because she used to be, is no longer, but used to be a bachelor/bachelorette consumer.
Oh, okay.
Similar everything, but not the same show, obviously.
Can you not go DVR?
Well, we did stream, like we did it a day later at times because we didn't pay for like the live version of whatever streaming platform was on, so we had to do it the next day, but we would like schedule that time anyway, like the next day at the same time.
Perfect.
So it sounds like you got to find the right partner is what I'm hearing throughout these conversations.
Relationships
between you,
are about sacrifice.
Mark, Tony.
I get it, but
taking notes.
Some sacrifices you just can't make, and this is one of them. Maddie Bone has chimed in. I'll provide her thoughts here in a little bit on that. All right, Tony, let's focus on, I guess in a few hours, potentially, the Kelly Oubre deal can become official. Let's start here. Do you think the Pacers are done with substantial moves?
I think that's very possible, yes. I mean, they basically told us they're not to expect anything major or huge, and as it stands now, I think their rotation makes a lot of sense, right? Their team is pretty similar to the team that made the finals, obviously with some tweaks at certain positions, but in terms of where the key players are and their salary cap situation makes it extremely hard for them to add anybody. In fact, if they want to sign someone new completely, they would have to either make a waiver first or make a trade first. So that player would have to be pretty talented. So I think if they're done, it makes good sense. And the fact that they would have to do something in advance to do something else, I said that in a very poor way, but that suggests to me that yes, it outside of a trade coming soon, it is quite possible that we already know what the Pacers are going to look like for the coming season.
Again, that's the voice of Tony East. You can hear more of him on Locked on Pacers. You can follow his work at Circle City Spin. Does a great job when it comes to Fever and Pacers coverage there as well. Tony, personal question here. Do you file your own taxes?
Yes. Well, I let me rephrase that. With the help of my aunt, who is a master of taxes, but we do them together every year.
Okay, so I asked this question, which I'm not surprised by your answer, because when it comes to NBA tax, you are my tax guy. You are the person I usually talk to about these things.
How about that lead-in right there?
And so, trying to have some fun here on this Monday morning. Tony, I do know, or at least I think I'm correct on this, that the Pacers are a little over the tax right now.
Yep.
Do you foresee them staying over the tax? Because if that is the case, from what I understand, that'd be the first time in quite some time that they've done that.
Yeah, since Reggie Miller was on the team, over 2 decades. And James, by the way, welcome back. Congratulations. Flattered to be being asked questions by an award winner, an award-winning journalist. I hope the claps came through this morning. Yes, they are currently over. I mean, it doesn't even matter what the first-year value of Oubre is that they're signing him at all. Means if they do so before making a trade or something else, in that moment, they will be over the tax for some amount of time. And my prediction is that maybe they do try to get under now. It's very hard because they'll be over by such an amount that actually getting under the tax before the season would require them trading away like multiple players, like both of Jarris Walker and Ben Shepherd, or a bunch of their minimum guys. So I don't know that's like really easily feasible to do at this stage. But what is possible to me is that they do make some sort of move before the season starts that gets them closer to getting out, so that, let's say their season goes poorly and they don't want to end the season paying the tax at the trade deadline, they could just make a trade or two and get out, right? So maybe they end up less this far, because right now they're about 6.4 million. I can't remember the exact number over the tax, which is, that's pretty far in. That's in the second band of, the luxury tax payments, where it goes up to 1.5 tax dollars per dollar spent on your team. I don't want to get too nerdy, but that's like a big commitment for them, given where their recent spending has gone. So I suspect that they'll end up over by an amount that they can manageably get out if they need to during the season, or if they are, told that they can't be in it at all. But if, if you're going to be good, if you're going to go for it, and they've said they're going for it, and, there was reporting that they would go for it with Miles Turner last year before Halliburton got hurt, at some point you have to pay for your team to be good. And currently they're doing that. They're paying for their team to be good. So it seems the most likely thing to me, just given the build of their team and how these rules work, is that they actually go into the season over, and how good they are as a team dictates how far over they end, if they end up over at all.
Circle City Spin, where you can find the written content for Tony East. He's with the Sierra Payless Liquors hotline. So deadline-wise, Tony, they could reevaluate some things, and then that's when you would think, okay, if for some reason they need to make a move there, that's where some of these future first-round picks could come into play.
Yeah, and the history of teams that are barely over the tax is that all of them do basically try to get out if they can, if it's reasonable to do so. But also, yes, right now, like 11 teams in the Eastern Conference, I think, hope to make the playoffs this year. And I'd say 6 to 8 of them think they're going to win a round. So the East is really good, right? Or really deep, I guess is maybe more accurate, which is strange. And so I think that also would influence your willingness to trade in the very short-term future draft picks. And then, the far away ones their value has changed because there's new lottery rules and no one really knows what's going on with those. So, I think their willingness to trade a pick would also depend on their season. And that's why I think where they're at kind of requires a little bit of a holding pattern. And that kind of goes back to your first question about, are they done? Is like, they don't know how good they're about to be. They've never seen Zubats with Siakam. They've never seen Zubats with Halliburton. They haven't seen Halliburton play post his Achilles tear. Like, they might come out slow. They might, have some things to work out during the season. And if they fall behind in the standings race early, like, it might not even be prudent to, be trading those kind of things depending on how the season is going. So, if they're awesome, like if they hit the ground running right away and Halliburton looks just like he used to and Zubats fits perfectly, then yes, you should be willing to move those as the Pacers to become, the team that they believe would be the favorite in the East or whatever. But, I think right now more of a see it and then do something about it makes the most sense, as long as, I think for fans, I think they would say that as long as those moves are based on what's happening on the court and not just financial considerations.
We had a listener reach out to us earlier asking about the Kelly Oubre signing and what that means for Obi Toppin. I think it means a little bit more for Jarris Walker to me, Tony. So I guess I'm curious your thoughts on that, because, Oubre's name, obviously he's joining the Pacers, but I saw the name Anthony Simons thrown out a little bit earlier in free agency. To me, he's kind of more in the 2-guard mold, whereas Walker probably would have liked that signing more than Oubre. I don't know. I think Oubre, to me, it doesn't really touch Toppin at all. I think he could have more impact on Jarris Walker.
I'd agree with that. I don't think I don't think they would have kicked Obi Toppin out of the rotation for any signing, if we're being honest. He's just a crucial part of what they do and has basically been their sixth man for finals runs. He's playing a lot for them when it matters this coming season. I agree with you that if anybody's going to lose minutes, it's going to be one of Jarris Walker or Ben Shepherd. And it's kind of natural to look at the size of these players and say, okay, Oubre is 6'8", he's probably going to be a 3, and Jarris Walker's a 3. Okay, that's the guy. But to me, it's with the Sixers, a lot of times Oubre was playing kind of the 2, right? It would be Maxey, him, and then 3 front court players, or Paul George and 2 front court players. And he was playing the 2 for them a lot. And what I think matters in terms of the positional stuff is what position can you guard? And Oubre is light for being a 6'8". He guards a lot of guards. If you look at his most common matchups across the last couple seasons, it's a lot of ball handlers, it's a lot of perimeter players. And so it's totally reasonable to me that he would play next to Jarris Walker. So I think the guy who would lose out is either Walker or Ben Shepherd. I don't know. I haven't had enough time to really determine which one of those I think should be the one that loses the rotation spot for Oubre. I think right now I slightly lean towards Shepherd, but it's either one of those guys would be the one who I think loses minutes, and definitely not like a top end or anyone in the starting five.
Again, that's the voice of Tony East, Locked On Pacers. You can also follow his work at Circle City Spin. Tony, I know you touched on it a little bit earlier in the conversation, but overall, we've seen some balance of power perhaps maybe shift a little bit, or at least some of the star power shift throughout the Eastern Conference, with Giannis going to the Heat. You got Jaylen Brown going to Philly. You got Kawhi Leonard coming back to Toronto from the West. So does any of those movements or changes make you feel any differently about how the Pacers might look as far as how they stack up with the rest of the conference in the upcoming season?
Yeah, the Kawhi one's the biggest one because of what you said. It's a player from the opposite conference coming in, and maybe that ends up actually happening with LeBron, right? Like, we'll see if he ends up with the Cavs or the Heat or something else. But, yeah, if you're the Pacers, you're hoping he's going to Golden State for this exact reason because – Giannis switching teams, like the Bucks weren't very good. The Heat were already like in the mix. Okay, man, some people don't even believe the Heat are better. I think they're better, but I don't know how much better. And same kind of question with the Sixers. The Celtics presumably would be worse. So I think there's been a lot of teams that think that they're better, but maybe aren't appreciably, obviously better or worse. I think that the Raptors are the ones like, oh dang, they're nasty all of a sudden. Their front court defense could be just spectacular with all of Scotty Barnes, Kawhi Leonard, and Colin Murray-Boyles on the floor. When Kawhi's actually healthy and able to play. So that's obviously a huge question mark for any Kawhi Leonard team. But the rest of the East, I think, has a lot of teams that think they got like a little bit better by doing whatever they did. Maybe the Knicks are a little worse because they lost Mitchell Robinson, but the Sixers made a big upgrade on the wing, obviously. The Hornets made all their swaps. Do those two teams think they're better? Maybe not, but Detroit's made all these little moves to improve. The Hawks have tried to make their little moves to improve. You could point to a bunch of teams in that way, and it's a very deep conference all of a sudden in a way that no one really expected a few years ago. So is anyone like way, way, way better than last year? Probably just Toronto, if you would be asked that question. But there's a lot of teams that think they're better or have expectations to do so, which will make it a super, super fun season. And the Pacers are in that group, right? They certainly hope that they're even better than the last time they played, like chasing real wins. It'll be a blast.
Tony, last one. Can you inform our audience a little bit about Yuri Kawamura, who we're about to witness here in Summer League?
Yuki Kawamura, yeah.
Yuki, thank you. Sorry.
Did you get asked about this?
Well, no, I didn't get asked specifically, but I started to scroll the roster of the Summer League, and I'm like, okay, I'm not really, like Keon Brooks, for example, has got some ties to the state. I'm always just kind of curious, some of these random dudes, and I'm seeing Yuki listed at 5'7". So I was not too familiar with Yuki's game. I didn't know he was a viral sensation with 1 million Instagram followers. Yes. So when Braden Smith goes to the bench here coming up in later this week, what's Yuki's story?
This is a real thing. Like, we're going to be saying, oh, they bring in Braden Smith for size. Like, it's a real thing that's going to be happening in Summer League for the Pacers. Yuki, and I think this is the case. Like, how every NBA player is listed a little bit above their height? I think that's actually possible for Yuki, too. He's extremely short, but he's popular because he's skilled enough that even at that height, he made the NBA 2 years in a row. The Grizzlies brought him in on a two-way 2 years ago, and him and Ja Morant actually got pretty close, and it was like a really cool thing to see them interact on social media and during games, things like that. Last year, he played Summer League with the Bulls against the Pacers at one point, and then got a two-way with them as well. So he is like a very crafty ball handler and passer, and he's really you have to be shifty and creative at that height to get open and get your teammates open. So I don't think he's got any sort of path to a two-way for the Pacers. I think a lot of these fans would be psyched if he was playing for the Boom next season, but he's very fun and interesting and is popular for lots of reasons. But the most important one is that, like, even at that height, he's been good enough to get onto an NBA floor. He hasn't really made shots at the pro level yet, but it's going to be he might be one of their better players on the team because of his actual NBA experience. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him in this setting.
He does his own taxes. He was very wishy-washy on how the TV would look tonight if presented with Love Island versus United States in the final 16 of the World Cup. It's probably why his wife loves him so much. He is Tony East, Circle City Spin, Locked On Pacers. Tony, thank you, sir.
And thanks for having me, guys.
Tony East right there. Payless Liquors Hotline.
I'll be hitting him up next year with a couple of W-2s to, help get things done.
Does not shock me whatsoever, Tony East. I did my own taxes until I started having kids, Mark. And then I'm like, this is too hard for me.
Yeah, no thank you.
Well, here's how locked in, no pun intended, Tony is when it comes to the Pacers and their salaries and the tax and all that. When Cam Jones got traded for, was it for Braden Smith or part of that deal?
For the 38th pick, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sitting next to him when this is happening, and he goes into some spreadsheet that he has, and he's like, oh, there goes his salary. He deletes it, and like the thing just automatically updates in something that he has with the certain, formulas already in it. And I'm like, only you would be excited about getting the updated salary cap sheet immediately.
I think Tony would
He's great.
I think Tony would be fine with me sharing this. I've told Tony he needs to publish that. Like, he needs to charge for that. Like, there are a lot of NBA nerds out there
would pay for that.
That would eat that up. Because the NBA, James, you know this. You've covered
it. Doesn't make any sense.
FIFA's ruling on Flo Balogun's red card makes more sense than the NBA salary cap.
Seriously.
And Tony, that's why we really appreciate him. And he does a nice job, I think, of trying to dumb it down to us. Because frankly, I need that big time here. We have a first name on our guy from Kentucky who's faced with a TV dilemma for tonight.
Oh, boy.
He shared that with us. He says he's a big Blue Nation fan. Does that explain a lot?
Oh, boy.
He's a fan of the Kentucky Wildcats.
This is not helping your case here on these airwaves.
And you said Maddie had a thought on this too?
Yeah. I'll give you Maddie's thought here in a few. Let's go ahead and check it down for now.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, I don't think I'm being duped by this, but James Boyd, as of right now, and I hate to even throw out that phrase, but Flo Balogun, the striker for the United States men's national team, is allowed to play tonight, 11 hours from now. It's the U.S. and Belgium. It is the final 16 of the World Cup. It is Seattle, Lumen Field, where the Seahawks play. So that's the update, but did you share with us earlier that now Belgium has said, wait a minute, FIFA, you need to hear from us with an appeal before this is official?
Exactly. So they have appealed it. From what I read via The Athletic and our reporting, the decision does not have to be made before tonight's game, but I would imagine if you want this appeal to actually have some legs and something to have some substance, then you have to make a decision. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, we got about 11 hours to decide if he's going to play or not.
Now, if you care about things on the pitch, the U.S. is a slight favorite over Belgium. They did play a friendly before the World Cup. I get it, friendlies are friendlies, but Belgium was definitely the better team in the second half of that match here. They're a little bit, I think, on the older side of this era. They did oust the U.S. in this round here back 12 years ago. So some other storylines, not just Flo Balogun related for tonight. But again, U.S., Belgium, winner takes on Spain, Portugal, and the winner of that, that will be into the semifinals. So Spain, Portugal, 3 o'clock today, U.S., Belgium, 8 o'clock. Winner of those into the Elite Eight. Fever last night out in Vegas. Caitlin Clark, Asia Wilson, both watching the game with respective injuries. And the Fever outplayed the Aces pretty notably. I thought, honestly, the big two really stepped up. Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, outstanding for the Fever doing the heavy lifting in that one. And one thing to note, now, again, there's context without Caitlin Clark. You've beaten the Aces without Asia Wilson and the Sparks without Kelsey Plum. But their turnover numbers have been lower. Obviously, I think they lack a little bit of potency offensively, but still, lower turnover numbers can be obviously pretty beneficial. They had that again last night, and they take care of the Aces. So it's a 4-game road trip at the Sparks on Wednesday, at the Mercury on Thursday, a rematch with Las Vegas coming up on Sunday. And James, it sounds like we could see Caitlin Clark later this week.
Yes, it does. She said last Friday that the plan was for her to return at some point during this back-to-back. Now, I don't know which game in the back-to-back or if she'll appear in both games, but she said she's made a lot of progress returning to practice last week, so that is a good sign for her health.
A Pato Award into victory lane yesterday over in mid-Ohio. He overtook his teammate, for now, Christian Lundgaard there. Pato first, Christian Lundgaard second, Kyle Kirkwood third. The big news from IndyCar here in the last week or so, and it sounds like it's just kind of the first big domino to fall. But Scott Dixon leaving Chip Ganassi Racing, I believe. Chip Ganassi mentioned that they had offered a multi-year contract to Scott Dixon, but if you look at it from Dixon's side of it, he's probably thinking to himself, wait a minute, I'm on the same team with Alex Palou, and seemingly he beats me every single week here, and maybe a little bit more money to ride off into the sunset for undoubtedly one of the better IndyCar drivers of all time. So we'll see where Felix Rosenquist ends up. Is that going to be Arrow McLaren? Is Scott Dixon going to join him there? What does that mean for Christian Lundgaard? Does he take Dixon's spot with Ganassi? A lot of dominoes here to fall, and we still have, 6 races left in the IndyCar schedule. So Nashville coming up in 2 weeks, and then a very busy month of August, including that race in Washington, D.C. there in the middle of the month. Baseball from over the weekend. Your Cubs are middling a little bit here, Mark.
He lost 2 of 3 to the Cardinals, but he still avoided the sweep and took the Sunday finale. So let's end strong as we near the All-Star break.
What do we got? A week from now? All-Star break?
Week from tomorrow, right? Yeah.
So a couple series here left. Reds, horrific at baseball per usual. No surprise there. The White Sox, what do? They take 2 or 3? I should probably double check that. White Sox split with the Guardians, and Brewers over the Diamondbacks 3-2. Indianapolis Indians at home this week. They've got the 30th anniversary of Victory Field coming up on Saturday. Again, Summer League going to start for the Pacers here later this week. Kelly Oubre, that signing becoming official. James, just your thoughts on the Pacers adding Oubre.
Great from a defensive standpoint. He's not the best defender in the world, but he offers more size when it comes to defending other wings, which I think will be pertinent throughout the playoffs especially. And then from a scoring standpoint, he offers some punch off the bench, and he's an incredible slasher and kind of cutter to the basket. So pairing that with Tyrese Halliburton, I think you're going to see about 6 to 8 Oubre points a game just from getting downhill and making sure he's in the right spot for an easy layup. So I'm excited to see him get paired with this group.
I played the Naughty by Nature song Hip Hop Hooray to start. Hip Hop Oubre, is that something worth a t-shirt? Should I go to the copyright office?
Oh, boy.
Oh gosh.
Man, that seems like a hair of a stretch on this Monday
Well, hold on.
morning.
The
but-
Plot Rickens is that's better than that.
Well, to be fair, I think you might be onto something there. Well, all it takes is one hot playoff series, Mark, and you know how those slogans
This
can
is
go.
true. Well, his nickname is what? Tsunami Poppy? So, have you heard that?
No, Tsunami Poppy.
That's
no.
his literal nickname.
Now,
Not kidding.
I said this earlier. He's got some swagger to him. There's no
Oh,
shortage
yeah.
of confidence.
He's probably going to have some blue and orange hair or blue and yellow hair at some point.
Yeah, Kelly Oubre, you're going to have moments where you're going to want to go to We Grow Hair Indy watching him play, but he also can fill it up. Double-digit score for a decade in this league. Nothing to sneeze at. Again, kind of like Matherin in that way, but different stylistically. I think taller, older, both of them, I think, similar shooters. Probably both of them maybe similar on the defensive end, although, as James points out, Oubre is taller, which should aid him there. And when those two drive, they are driving to score. Oubre probably not getting to the foul line as much as Matherin, but still, he's been very successful in this league in providing that microwave element, and has started some games as well if the Pacers do get into some injury situations and need to explore that. Lastly, Wimbledon, we are into the second week here. Americans, as per usual, waning, to say the least. Taylor Fritz playing later today from an American standpoint as he tries to make the quarterfinals there in Wimbledon. All right, coming up on the other side, much more on where we're at from a Flo Balogun standpoint. Should it be Love Island on the TV, or should it be the U.S. and Belgium? Is that a serious question here on this Monday morning? And we'll tease coming up tomorrow. We'll get to our next What If situation. Our summer series will continue with another local angle, and Mark and I maybe will rehash a little bit of what we had last week, because I thought it was pretty interesting in the one that we did last week. Fan Morning Show here, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
We're going to have mostly cloudy skies today with a chance for spotty showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. We'll reach a high near 83 degrees. Shower chances in tonight with lows in the upper 60s. Fox 59 meteorologist Amber Hardwick for The Fan.
Do it for the drive. This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
I'll get back into our summer What If series coming up tomorrow. Shout out, Mark. I really enjoyed our combo last Tuesday with Jeff Rabjohns talking about, what if Indiana had kept Kelvin Sampson and what could all of that look like. I had kind of forgotten until we were getting into it a little bit that, there's a lot of people that believe some in the IU, hierarchy, really wanted John Beilein. And it was almost a Beilein or Kelvin Sampson decision and how different that could have been for obviously Indiana. But, hell, look at Michigan. Think about the ebbs and flows of the Michigan program here, from Beilein to Juwan Howard to, Dusty May. All of that. That's kind of crazy in itself.
Forgot about Juwan Howard. Oh, man. How about the slap?
Yeah. When he
He's
gets
come a
into
long way from the slap.
Greg Gard and company post game. Yeah. So I enjoyed that, Mark. It's been fun going down kind of memory lane and throwing out some of these hypotheticals. And I thought Rabbi pointed out well, did Kelvin Sampson almost need to go through Indiana to then get to where he's at Houston? Does Houston 1,000% happen without Indiana? I know it's weird to say, but is that the case?
That was my biggest takeaway from that. Is that something where I didn't really think about? Maybe he needed to go through those trials and tribulations to kind of be like, oh yeah, I kind of do need to mind my P's and Q's going forward, or I'm not going to be in this sport very long. So that was my biggest takeaway from that conversation. And if you did miss that conversation, Rabjohns was excellent on that topic.
Well, and that as well, Mark. And then I'll flip it. Yes, I think it's mostly personality or personally, breaking the rules again, lying again. But also, I think Sampson has pointed to his NBA time. Remember, he went to the NBA. He was assistant for Greg Popovich right away there. He felt like that was super beneficial to his overall coaching career. He had good success at Oklahoma, of course, and even Washington State. But, did that element also kind of broaden his basketball coaching? So, again, we'll get into our next on the What If series coming up tomorrow.
So I need this Matty Bowen hot take on Love Island.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is Trenton, okay? So Trenton reaches out to us about an hour ago. He goes, pray for all the men like me who will be both watching Love Island with the girlfriend at 9 o'clock tonight on TV and the United States match on the phone. Now, when I first got this text, and again, the first few words here, pray for all the men like me. Part of me want to be like, Trenton, brother, I think you might be on your own Love Island there.
You're abandoning him?
Well, how many men are succumbing to that?
I would say not many.
We've all been young and in love before, but we got to draw the line somewhere there. So I decided to reach out to Matty Bowen, a diehard Love Island fan, and I simply sent her Trenton's text, and I said, as a Love Island watcher, do you support that? She goes, I hate to side with the men, but I think she should get the phone.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Matty Bowen is carrying our flag today.
Yeah.
Which chromosomes are we again?
I don't know. One of them.
Oh my gosh. Why?
She's carrying our flag today here with the men. She goes, Love Island is every single night except Wednesdays. So that's the only night off for Love Island. So he's a good man for prioritizing that over a once in a 4-year event. But she's siding with us. How about that? Thank you, Matty Bowen.
Yeah, I need to see what Trenton has said as far as why that can't be the case. Why can't you watch that on delay or watch that after the game ends?
Again,
watch it before the Tuesday episode.
Yeah, look, trust me, Love Island's got some things that I enjoy occasionally seeing on the television, but those can wait. All right. We're trying to do something that our country rarely ever does. And it's live sports. I can't get around these people that watch live sports on tape delay or on DVR.
I can't do that.
I get that my job's different, our job's different, blah, blah, blah.
Man.
But man, that's a tough one. Tonight I'm thinking, all right, I keep the kids up for the first half, give them to bed at halftime. I've already gone through that aspect of it. Because
you're game planning.
Oh, boys, I'm locked in. I think I told you guys from the start of the show. I'm antsy over here.
Okay.
I got ants in the pants. This is a little Notre Dame for me tonight here.
Which is, again, big praise.
I think it's
coming from you.
Biggest July, and again, I don't ask me to say what's 2 through 5 on the list. It's the biggest July sporting event of my life.
That's fair. That's
bigger
fair.
than TJ Warren in the bubble scoring 50.
And that was a great time. That was a great time, I must say.
It was a great time because we finally got something, but thank the Lord we don't have to deal with that anymore. But yeah, I mean, what other July sporting events do we get?
The home run derby. That's about it usually.
Yeah, I had the Josh, I don't know, Jay Bruce or Josh Hamilton hit home run. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Griffey, no.
Joey Chestnut wolfing down Glizzies.
I was gonna say now, hey,
that might be pushing the top 5. I would say Wimbledon, but we know Mark hates Wimbledon.
It's still going on as we speak, and I'm like, this never ends. The World Cup will be over before Wimbledon is.
Your hatred of Wimbledon is hilarious and also kind of random, which makes it funnier.
That just goes on forever.
I think we've done a nice job with supporting Trenton in the best way possible, but also making our feelings known.
Look,
Love Island gets the phone or gets tape delayed, one or the other, but it can't be getting TV One privileges.
Mark, someone else reached out on the text line, said they've got 2 65-inch TVs in the living room. Is that right?
Oh, they're living good.
Yeah, living great. So they'll go side by side, Love Island, U.S. I know it's soccer, but I need my volume.
That's
I
what
can't
I said.
be having Love Island drama in my ear.
This
That's
is
what
a
I said.
very
Who gets
good
the
point.
sound in that situation?
See, I usually grade my sports bars off of who has sound. Food, atmosphere, all that's great, but if you don't have sound on when it's the finals or it's the World Cup or something like that, I can't beat your establishment. I need to hear the crowd, the commentary, what's going on, replays, whatever.
I had to crank the sound last night above the fan. It's hotter than hell in our house. I had to get super high with the volume because I need to hear that Mexican crowd.
There you go.
Hear Wonderwall at the end belted out by the crowd.
I'm loving the post-match celebrations.
There's just so much emotion. Like, I don't know what his name is, but the England player who just completely collapsed right after the game on his knees. And I was like, boy, he looks exhausted. He's given everything. The country's proud. Like,
so for those that missed
quite
it,
a feeling.
Last night, England goes up 3-1, I think it was.
Yep.
Then they get a red card. And penalty. Well, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think the red card was right around that. But then Harry Kane, penalty in the box, leads to Mexico scoring. So now it's 3-2. And it was 3-2 for the final, 20-some minutes of that game? Hell, we got 11 minutes of stoppage time. And watching England have to defend that, and James, to your point, every time the goalie, Pickford or whatever his name is, he was great. He'd boot the ball as far as he can down the field. And then I look at all the England players, and they're all just like hands on their knees. Like
exhausted.
You know how every coach tells you at a young age, no, hands above the head.
Yeah, there's no air down there.
We don't put hands down our knees, on our knees. No, they're all like bent over, like just for like 4 seconds, because then the ball, boom, is coming right back into their box. I swear Mexico had 75 crosses and not one of them went into the goal.
No, there was ones that were close. I gasped a few times. I was like, oh my God. I can't imagine that adrenaline going at the end of the game.
Yeah, that was epic. I know England's had some heartbreak when it comes to World Cup, but that match last night, I get it only counted as one to move into the final 8 there, but boy, that was epic. So today, 3 o'clock, Spain, Portugal. Now, that's got to be a rivalry, right?
You would think.
They're right next to each other on a map.
And again, Cristiano Ronaldo's potential last World Cup game. So, like I said, for an appetizer, I don't know if you can ask for much better than Spain, Portugal.
Winner of that one takes on the winner of the United States and Belgium. Again, 3 o'clock, Spain, Portugal. 8 o'clock tonight, U.S. and Belgium. And as James Boyd spoke early, his favorite thing about soccer is they start the matches on time.
Oh, yes. They know what a clock looks like. It's the same every day. Let's get on board with that when it comes to the NBA and WNBA.
Now, they don't fully know what the clock looks like, because then once you get in stoppage time, anything
that
goes.
part still gives me anxiety, because I'm like, okay, but is there a countdown clock? Because all you see is just the minutes. You don't see the seconds, at least on the TV screen.
So is the ref going 11 minutes on his watch, and then the alarm? By the way, my alarm didn't go off today, gentlemen. I don't know why.
Well, you're a pro.
I think I turned it off for the holiday when I was out Thursday and Friday.
Oh.
But boy, I tell you what, I woke up in some panic. But
what time did you wake up?
6:32.
All right, well,
Body clock woke you up, you're fine.
That's probably a little panicky zone for you.
Oh yeah, I literally said out loud to Maddie, "I'm late," and I sprinted out of there. But I was here on time.
You're an athlete.
The stoppage time though, like France Paraguay, I thought that stoppage it was going for 30 minutes. I was like, I think they want Paraguay to try to tie this
That's
game.
the part where I'm like,
it just kept
okay,
going.
at what point do the players know this is it?
Yeah, I just keep on looking at the ref, and all of a sudden he's letting kicks happen.
Right. So that part, yeah, I guess it adds drama.
Boy,
I said that stoppage time is built on vibes. If it's down the field and no one's close, all right, let's blow this thing.
You know what?
If you got
I actually agree with
a corner
this.
in the impossibility.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Last
all
call.
it is.
Last call. Here we go. Anybody
All right,
need one more?
One more.
One
That's
more.
fine.
One more firework. Oh yeah, it's 3 a.m. on July 8th. One more firework. You can go ahead.
That was a dud. All right, we're calling it. We're closing up shop.
We can set off. We'll do it one final time here. Fan Morning Show. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, and Mark Dyson.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
So Monday morning chills, courtesy right there. Mark Dykton, that the scene Wednesday night in Santa Clara, correct? Right?
That was Seattle.
49ers next round
Yeah.
is what I'm thinking. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Sorry about that. Yes, Lumen Field, thank you. Home of Blake Groupies.
How could you forget Lumen Field? That's where Phillip Rivers came out of retirement.
I was gonna
come on now, baby.
Blake Groupie strutting after his big old field goal that he hit out there back in mid-December. Quite the scene that was Wednesday, and again, that will be tonight here, and a trip to the Elite Eight is on the line. The United States and Belgium. You know anything about Belgium besides waffles?
Not necessarily, but I do want to know real quick, do you all know how many teams you have left in our pool?
I've got one, I'm pretty sure.
Mark's got one.
France is the last one standing.
I think I got a couple, right? Don't I have Argentina and England? Oh, actually, I think I have Belgium.
Oh, so you're doing all right.
Right, but, obviously I want Belgium to lose today.
I mean, yeah.
Last night was big for me, though. I was cheering hard for England. So I have Argentina and England, and then Belgium.
So you weren't going with the, hey, it's the 4th of July.
Well, I
probably shouldn't roll with England.
Well,
I'm just asking.
No, I was not. I was thinking more about our pool here. I don't know. Should I have cheered for Mexico? Are they our neighbors here? I don't know.
I was just curious.
Now, you've got a couple here, but James, you have an elimination game.
I know.
You have Spain and Portugal.
I was going to say they're going to, cannibalize each other. So
no matter what,
Spain,
James
Portugal,
has one.
Morocco.
No matter what, I should say James will have 2 left.
Right.
Mark 1, James 2. If Belgium wins, then I'll have 3, which I don't want that. I'm cheering against me.
I had some heavy hitters, and all the heavy hitters have gone down.
I was going to say, Mark, you manufactured this janky tournament anyway and tried to, change the rules there or create very obscure rules at the beginning, and now you're still losing.
Well, you were out, and Kevin was manufacturing. He was changing the points system.
Oh, you changed it again? This is news to me on these airwaves here on this Monday morning.
You said next round was like what, 3 points a win and all that. You were up in the ante all of a sudden.
Yeah, right here I've got 3. I got 3 points for winning the knockout. Semifinals are 5, championship 7.
So James, you got any qualms? Look to your left.
Okay. Well, thank you for informing me, Mark, because Kevin was never going to tell me this.
Well, yeah, Mark, and his rule changes.
He's
a man of integrity.
Yes,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mark, the only one that hasn't won one of these pools. That's why he won.
Trying to copyright hip hop Oubre right now.
3 weeks from tomorrow, report day for the Colts. Mark, you got us a Colts question to round things out?
I do, and it's fitting that you brought up, kicking situations and all that, and we got the World Cup, so a lot of soccer on the mind. Who is your pick to win the Colts kicking competition out of Grand Park?
I'm going to go with Blake Groupie.
I'm going to go with Spencer Schrader.
Ooh.
I think that Spencer Schrader is more well-known when it comes to the Colts and their relationship with him. He has had a better, career so far in the NFL, although it's been shorter. So I'm going to roll with Spencer, coming back from the knee injury.
And what happens to the loser of the kicking competition? They getting cut outright, put on the practice squad? Are they getting traded? What's happening to them?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I think KB would like to see a trade.
Yeah,
you've kind of hinted at it.
Right. Sometimes what you see kind of in late August, Mark, is like, oh, we have a lot of players at this position. How about we trade a player for you that, kind of makes sense for both rosters at cut down? So, like, for example, the Colts are thin at, I don't know, I think the Colts are kind of thin at running back, for example. Like, could you trade whatever, your loser of the kicker competition for said, running back to kind of help your depth? Now, dude, kicking matters in the NFL. I mean, it matters a whole lot. I think in the best case scenario, you would keep the loser of the competition on your practice squad. I know it sounds weird, but you got 16 of them. I think kicker matters that much in the NFL. I mean, look at when Michael Badgley kicked for this team last year. It was costly.
Yeah, you and Badge, but you all didn't click from day one, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he got a little stippy with me, didn't he?
For those who might be a little confused, I remember you asked him something. It was a softball question of, hey, where have you been kicking lately? And something. He's like, well, wouldn't you like to know or something? I was like, dang.
I was like, gosh, man.
Guess you thought you were asking for the address or something.
I haven't heard someone snap at me like that since I took one of Max Bowen's dinosaurs. Like, gosh, boy, a little feisty there. So, well, I'm not gonna say anything after that. Again, 3 weeks from tomorrow, Colts. Did I just hear correctly? J&B on Monument Circle today.
Gosh.
Little watch party action.
Can we find out where this is? Is it
Monument Circle, where we used to be?
I'm saying, like, is there a certain establishment within the circle that he's at? It can't just be
he's
him
there.
sitting on the steps doing his show.
Well, I mean, I assume he's under some sort of tent situation set up, but yeah, J&B's going to be live there on Monument Circle.
All right, I might pull up and see my boy.
I remember there was a big watch party on Mass Ave. I think last time USA Belgium were playing here in the round of 16. So hopefully the end result is a little bit different here. I can't believe we're awaiting a Flo Balogun decision still. You said Belgium has appealed?
They have appealed, and there's no way the appeal can be heard.
So can you appeal or
today.
can you not?
You can, and they have appealed.
Unbelievable. Jake Query's in the building. He's got you covered here, mid-Ohio. People were chiming in earlier about the keyhole yesterday, Jake.
I was watching Pelot coming out of the pits, seeing if he could catch up to the papaya of Pato. And my brain was hyped on that letter, clearly. It's totally bizarre because I've called 1,500 laps from the keyhole.
Jake's got you covered 10-1.
And I have no idea how that – it's not even a Freudian slip because I've never used that term, but it is what it is, right?
See you tomorrow.